People have been waiting for this day since the end of January. It's the return of college football into the Schuh in Columbus, Ohio. As thousands upon thousands fill the stands, we are just under 20 minutes away from kickoff between the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes and the Akron Zips. Hi, everybody. Welcome into SGSR Countdown to Kickoff. It's the Connors here with you. Connor Schuh, Connor Canfield here along with you. And Connor, it feels so darn good to have football back in Columbus.
Oh, you can say that again, Connor. The atmosphere is incredible. You can see this place is filling up. Everybody's just so excited to see football again in Columbus, especially after last year finishing that number 10 spot in the AP poll. But, man, the Buckeyes have really reloaded in this offseason.
They absolutely have, and a lot of that is through the portal. Akron as well, heavy transfer-based team. Ohio State picking up a lot of key additions in the portals, but on both sides, we see the quarterback battle here today. Transfer quarterbacks on both sides certainly adds kind of a new wrinkle to the offense as, you know, you've had all offseason camps, spring games, but this is the first time you get the game action as the new quarterback. Sometimes that can take a minute for you to get used to it. So both sides with transfer quarterbacks here could certainly play a factor in this game.
Absolutely could, but these are two guys who have a lot of experience, at least 3 years under both of their belts. Will Howard from Kansas State for Ohio State, and then Ben Finley from Cal for Akron, a guy who's had a little bit of experience here and there. Less than 10 starts in his career, so mostly a backup, but he's a guy with some pedigree that should be able to lead this Akron offense in this year. And, of course, Will Howard, we've been hearing about him so much. Big-bodied guy out of Kansas State, all Big 12 type of player, can run it and throw it with the best of him. It'll be really exciting to see how these two duel it out.
Yeah, Howard, record-setting quarterback career touchdown leader at Kansas State. Single season last year in terms of touchdowns last year, so one of the best transfer quarterbacks in the portal, and Ohio State goes out and get him. And talked about reloading. He's just trying to do it. They're trying to do that. And really just after last year, 11-2 finish. Of course, 2 straight losses at the end of the year. 1 to Michigan and that disappointing Cotton Bowl to Mizzou. But the vibes feel high this year after last year. Everyone's coming back, it feels like. And it feels like everyone has bought into the message and is so hungry just for a national title here this year.
And that's what happens when you get a transfer class like Ohio State did. Of course, we talked about Will Howard a little bit, but you get Caleb Downs from Alabama joining the safety room and helping lead it. And then in the running back room, Quinshawn Judkins from Ole Miss. This is a guy who had 1,500 rushing yards and double-digit touchdowns as a freshman at Ole Miss, and in 2 seasons solidified himself as one of the best running backs in program history alongside a guy like Deuce McAllister. That is a guy you want your name to be mentioned alongside, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg. Ohio State has done a great job at revamping this club, even with freshmen too. You're going to see a couple of those guys out here today, but Ryan Day's club is out for blood this year and is the preseason number 2, and some people have him as the favorite to win this whole thing. So we'll see how they can do in the season debut against Akron.
Absolutely, and then you look on the other side of the picture, Akron coming off a 2-10 season. They haven't won in 304 days. Of course, that was the Kent State, so it's always good to get a win over your rival, but since then it's been downhill. Before that, you have to go back to September where they beat Morgan State, and it took a scoop and score at the very end to make sure they beat Morgan State. So we talked about how Ohio State's hungry, but, I mean, Akron might be even more hungry, just trying to scratch and claw their way up the MAC standings after a couple of tough years over the past 2 years, and head coach Joe Moorhead has really had his work cut out for him.
I think so, and Joe Moorhead, more of an offensive coach, of course, was an offensive coordinator at Oregon and Penn State, had some great years with both programs. But it's funny, Akron is a more defensively focused ball club. They had a few all-MAC guys on their defense, C.J. Nanali and Brian McCoy, to name a couple, that are coming back for this year. They returned their 4 leading tacklers. They were 31st in the nation in yards allowed, around 330 per game, despite the 2-10 record. So the defense is really something Joe Moorhead's crew is going to have to hang its hat on today and for the entire season. But I think they're going to have an improved year from last year, Connor.
Yeah, they certainly have the pieces to do it, but it's a matter of they got to put it together. And you talked about defense. We can also talk about the offense a little bit. Connor, give us a couple players to watch here on either side in this one.
Well, let's look at Ohio State at first. Of course, it's going to be Will Howard in his debut for Ohio State. Chances are he doesn't play this whole game, but the time we see him in here, we're going to get to see him display his running and passing ability. Had over 300 rushing yards last year, 9 touchdowns on the ground. and a great year through the air. The completion percentage a little low, just a shade under 60, but still threw for well over 2,500 yards and overall had a very successful season with K-State, 9 wins with them. But I just want to see what he does in this Ryan Day offense and what he can do with all his tools, because last year you had a guy in Kyle McCord who was a solid quarterback, but not a guy who's going to get out and run like your typical Ohio State quarterback would, at least historically. But Will Howard, he's that type of guy, so I'm excited to see how he slots in with everybody. And I'm excited to see the dynamic between Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Of course, 2 guys who aren't going to play the whole game for Ohio State, but there's certainly going to be some fireworks there when they're on the field, and I think there could be some 2 running back packages with those 2 out there. And regardless of who you are on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to have some trouble deciding which guy you want to cover first. And even with Will Howard in the middle, that's 3 strong rushing threats to go with a very solid receiving core. But for Akron, I looked at the defensive side of the ball for their key guys. Of course, Brian McCoy and C.J. Nanali I mentioned earlier. Nanali is really the guy I'm looking at for them. First-team All-MAC, the only first-team All-MAC guy for them last year at left defensive end, 7.5 sacks, 15.5 tackles for loss. Second in the conference, one of the better marks in the nation as well. He's a guy who really came out of nowhere, came from Independence Community College, was at Jackson State as well, didn't play a whole lot there, but came in and really produced off the edge. So the Ohio State tackles, whoever's going to guard him, if it's Josh Simmons or Josh Fryer, could be in for some trouble. I think he might see a lot of double teams today. Then that off-ball linebacker spot. Brian McCoy and Nantavius Fish are 2 guys who were at the top of the tackle leaderboard for Akron last year and got stop after stop and did a great job at manning that solid defense for the Zips. And if anyone's going to give off Ohio State trouble on their offensive side of the ball, it's going to be those 3 guys.
And you mentioned Josh Fryer, Josh Simmons. That brings us kind of to our next point. A couple of injuries and a couple of key injuries and key inactives here today on the offensive side of the ball. It's Donovan Jackson, who's obviously key anchor of the offensive line, so that's a tough loss. And also, you got the blocked out recipient on the defensive side of the ball, Cody Simon. C.J. Hicks should start for him. Austin Serveld will start at left guard today for Ohio State. So, just first game of the season, but and obviously, people are not taking this game maybe as seriously as this would be, say, a Big Ten game against Oregon later in the season, but still tough to see a couple of your leaders on either side of the ball lost in this first game of the season.
It really is, and that's never a positive, especially because you want to see those guys get out there and play ball, especially someone like Cody Simon, who, of course, he's been a longtime contributor for Ohio State, but not always a starter, and this is one of the first couple of times he's been the man at Mike linebacker. So would have been really cool to see him start today, but we're going to have to wait till at least Western Michigan. And then same for Donovan Jackson. He's really a linchpin of that offensive line, All-American type of guy. But I'm very excited to see what Austin Serveld can do starting his debut for the Buckeyes. He's a guy Ryan Day and company really like coming out of high school, and he could show everybody something. I'm excited to see what happens.
And as the eye's about to be dotted, Connor, give us a quick prediction before we send it over to Tyler Danburg and Austin Crume for this one.
All right, I think I'm going to go a little bit more conservative than how we were talking on the Block O Show podcast earlier this week. I think I'm going to give Ohio State the W 49-7. I think Akron gets on the board, and you know how? I think they get a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Brian McCoy's going to take one to the crib, and you're going to see a few guys from Ohio State scoring to make that 49. But what do you think?
I say 42-10 Ohio State. I mentioned earlier, it's been 1894 the last time Akron beat Ohio State. I don't see it happening here this year. It just feels like Ohio State's just too hungry for a win and a good season, and I think they come out and play strong here in this one. But time will tell. A little over 10 minutes to kick off. We'll take a break here on Star and Gray Sports Radio, and coming back with you on the other side, Tyler Danburg, Austin Crume. Here have the first half call for you. It's going to be a good one, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Bang.
They say the waiting is the hardest part, but on this final Saturday in August, it gets all the more easier. It's week 1 of the college football season as number 2 Ohio State runs out of the tunnel to our right at Ohio Stadium and welcomes the Akron Zips of the Mid-American Conference. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Austin Crume, Connor Canfield, and Connor Schuh, I'm Tyler Danburg. Austin, it goes without saying that this is one of the most highly anticipated seasons in the long lineage of Ohio State football, but they're able to finally put that product that they built in the offseason together on the field here against the Akron Zips.
I mean, we've been talking about this for not only months, but I feel like the past better part of a year after the ending of the Cotton Bowl 14-3 loss to Missouri. There has been something different about this team, whether it's the energy, whether it's the mindset, whether it's the actual roster itself in the transfer class or incoming freshmen. This seems like a year for Ryan Day and his side. They have to prove themselves, coming in as number 2 in the entire country in the preseason AP poll. A lot of people are wondering, are they able to do it not only with NIL, but now with the expansion of the Big Ten and then the 12-team playoff as well?
The playoff expands, the Big Ten expands to 18. Athletic Director Ross Bjork said that it took a reportedly amount of $20 million to put together this program. That went 11-2 last year, suffered a Cotton Bowl loss to Missouri. Meanwhile, Akron, they're trying to get back on the right track. They are 4-20 over their last 2 seasons, and they're doing it under third-year head coach Joe Moorhead. For Ohio State, you mentioned some key freshmen and some key transfers that came in. Who are some that stick out to you?
Well, if you want to look at the freshmen, everybody knows Jeremiah Smith. I mean, come on, preseason All-American just for the freshman team when you look at it. A freak of nature, the youngest Iron Buckeye ever. Of course, you look at the defensive side, you got Edric Houston, a freshman, the highest-ranked defensive man they brought in from their class.
Thank you.
It's a lot going through. When you look at that, of course, you're going to look at the transfers with Caleb Downs and so many more, but we'll get to that right after this break here on the student home of Ohio State Athletics.
My bad there.
No, you're good, you're good.
That was an awkward.
I saw it and I went, ooh.
3.5 minutes until kickoff between Akron and number 2 Ohio State. He's Austin Crume. I'm Tyler Danburg. Pretty special moment, a moment of silence held here at Ohio Stadium, the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, in honor of Johnny and Matthew Goodrow, 2 NHL players. Johnny Goodrow, the star for the Columbus Blue Jackets. The pair of brothers tragically lost their lives a few days ago, and we send our best to the Goodrow family and the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, the Boston College men's hockey program, and anybody whose lives have been touched by those two. Kickoff just about to get set underway here. The referee crew for this matchup. It's a Big Ten crew. Referee is Tim O'Day. Umpire is Ken Zomansky. B.J. Henry, the head linesman. The line judges, Jeff Meslow, back judge Robert Smith Jr., field judge Nicole Randolph, and center judge Dan Novak, joined alongside side judge John Masterson. Coin toss at the red painted Blocko logo at midfield. And it's two-time Heisman winner Archie Griffin, the only man to do that in the history of college football's most prized possession, the honorary captain today. What a special weekend for Archie Griffin.
I mean, whether it's the statue at the Rose Bowl, the statue right out front here at Ohio Stadium, dotting the I beforehand with a marching band, or now here flipping the coin in week one on what many consider to be a national championship or bust season. Who else would you rather have if you're the Ohio State Buckeyes flipping that coin against the Zips?
It definitely brings good mojo. Let's go down to the field.
It is the helmet. You won the toss. You want to defer? Right. Akron has won the toss. They've elected to defer their choice to the second half. You're going to receive. Which end do you want to kick from? You're going to kick that way. Your backs come this way. And then your backs come this way. Ohio State will receive and defend the north end zone to start the game. Good luck this afternoon, man.
Akron won the toss. They defer. Ohio State will receive in the first half. Akron receives in the second half. The Zips in the all-white uniforms with the navy blue numbers, the navy blue letters, the white helmets with the navy blue A entrenched on each side of the helmet. Ohio State rocking the silver bulleted helmets, scarlet jerseys, white numbers and letters, shiny gray pants, and they will receive against the Akron Zips.
Partner, this one just feels different. The energy here, it's week one, and I really can't see much of the open seats, maybe some of the corners of the students section in the south end zone, but there's just something about it, whether it was the Zips, whether we knew a couple years ago maybe there was a chance Washington would be playing in week 3. Of course, now that has been replaced with Marshall, but there's so many things going forward with this Ohio State team. New personnel, same task, win that natty, but you got to start it here with the kickoff.
Back in late July, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day said you can feel the energy in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. This is a team that wants to win. Akron kicks it from right to left. Ohio State will receive it and return it from left to right. To kick for Akron is Dante Jackson, the senior from Chico, California. Jaden Ballard, the Massillon Washington High School product, awaits the kick in the end zone to our left. 102,740 plus of our closest friends for the next 3 hours in full throat jumping up and down. The marching band to our right on this 89-degree, humid, cloudy, sweltering afternoon in Columbus, Ohio. Dante Jackson rushes up to the ball from the 35, swings the right leg through, it sails end over end. Ballard under it, fields it outside the left hash at the 5, brings it out to the 10, middle of the field to the 20, cuts it left outside the left hash at the 25, and a nice return for Jaden Ballard out to the 27, and Will Howard takes his first snap as an Ohio State quarterback coming from Kansas State.
I think the biggest question here, partner, what is Will Howard able to do? Everybody knows last year he was second team all Big 12. He's played in the big games. He's beat Texas. He's gone to that Big 12 championship. He's done well there as well. They're already calling an offside on the kicking team, so now they'll be at the 32.
It will be 1st and 5 Ohio State on the left hash at their own 32-yard line. The running back is Travion Henderson, the All-Big Ten running back. Quinshon Judkins, the Power 5's active leading rusher, will also join him in the backfield at some point today. Tight end to the right in G. Scott Jr. Austin Saraveld is in for Donovan Jackson at left guard. Pitch to the right side for Travion Henderson, wiggles up the right side of the 40, and he's tackled 2 yards shy of the sticks for a 3-yard gain.
And are we really surprised here, partner? Everybody knew it was going to be QB-A and QB-B when you looked at the battle. But what about RB1, RB2? You can chuck that out the window as well. It's a similar placement. You know Henderson and Judkins going to get even snaps this season.
2nd and 1 from the 41 of Ohio State's zone. Trips receivers left, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Ebuka, and Carnell Tate. Henderson, the running back, snap to Howard, swings it left side, and it's dropped by Jeremiah Smith, the true freshman receiver and #1 recruit coming out of Chaminade Madonna Prep, and it's 3rd and 1.
Already some chippiness going on between Josh Simmons, the left tackle for the Bucks, and a couple of the defensemen looking at the Zips. It looks like they're second levels, maybe one of the wide linebackers, but what a way to set the tone, right? If you're Akron, you understand the situation. You're an underdog here in this spot. Why not try to bring that fire and try to get into the head of one of the Buckeyes?
The Zips were 2-10 last year, but the defense was the main identity. 31st in the NCAA in total defense. Extra tight end to the right, 2nd, now 3rd and 1. Howard pulls in the snap. There was a flag before the snap came in. With 14-14 to go in quarter number one, no score here on the first possession of this game. Jeremiah Smith is called on the false start. So a drop slant pass and then a false start for Jeremiah Smith to bring up 3rd and 6 OSU.
It's the beginning of the season. You know, everybody's trying to find their sea legs. I feel like you see that the most couple of weeks. I mean, you're even looking at what? Clemson and Georgia playing, and it's a close game. You know it's going to take some time to get used to each other and build that chemistry back up.
3rd and 6 Ohio State at its own 36-yard line. Empty backfield for Howard. He's got 4 wide. He takes the snap, guns it right side, incomplete, batted away from the intended receiver, Emeka Ebuka, and on the play there was Brian McCoy, the preseason first-team All-MAC selection, forces a 4th and 6.
And he was a third-team MAC last season, 94 total tackles, 33 of them solo. But you got to watch from rushing the edge as well, 6 tackles for loss with 18 yards there as well.
Ohio State has 4th and 6. And its own 36-yard line. It's the big 6'7", Nick McClarty taking a snap to his right, pulls it in front of his helmet. The Australian boots it from left to right, takes a tumble at Akron's 28, sputters outside the right numbers to the 20, back spins to the 23, where it's down by an Ohio State Buckeye down there. Scooped up by Calvin Simpson-Hunt, the defensive back, and Akron has its first possession of the game with no score and 14:02 remaining in the first frame.
And Caden Curry was getting chippy with Antavius Fish down at the line. Fish chucked up his hands and went, "What are you yelling at me for, dude? We're here inside the 10. Just get back on defense and get ready for it."
1st and 10 Akron. Zips have it at their own 22-yard line. The quarterback is Ben Finley. First year at Akron after 1 at Cal and 3 at NC State. Running back is Jordan Simmons, former Michigan State Spartan. There's the snap to Finley. Buckeyes bring 4. Finley rushes left at the 20, slides feet first at the 28, and he's hit by Davison Igbinosun. A flag comes in after Finley picks up a chunk, and Finley is down on his front side and turns over to his back where the Zips training staff meets him with 13:54 left in the first.
You got to make sure he's okay. Of course, you get a good snap from Finley. The pocket opens up to his left. He runs, climbing the ladder. He realizes that there's going to be coverage from Igbinosun, getting close to that first down mark. Tries to slide, but it looked like that late hit.
In Ohio State's first game last year and first defensive play,
Late hit. Defense with targeting, number 1. 15-yard penalty.
so it is a late hit with targeting on Davison Igbinosun. If you go back to week 1 at Indiana, first defensive play for Ohio State, the first snap for Davison Igbinosun coming from Ole Miss, he got called for targeting. They reviewed it. They waved it off. He stayed back in the game. History has a way of repeating itself at some point, and the officiating crew is going to take a look at it. 13:54 left in the first quarter. Akron nothing, Ohio State nothing. Zips have it at their own 22-yard line, but that might be a little bit further pending further review.
I mean, you can look at the face of Igbinosun right now. He's not necessarily the happiest with himself. His shoulders are down. He's walking with his head down. And what do you do in this situation? Just say, hypothetically here, he does get taken out of the game early on. If you're Jim Knowles, do you have to slot Jermaine Matthews Jr. into that starting spot and hope somebody like a freshman and Aaron Scott Jr. can go in as a backup and get those extra snaps here?
Ohio State defensively, they're already down some depth in the middle.
Like a Cody Simon, so it looks like C.J. Hicks will start in his spot. Of course, Arvell Reese has a potential to play. And then you talked about that defensive side, but if you look at it offensively, Donovan Jackson not starting at left guard. Austin Saraveld, the sophomore out of Lakota East High School in Cincinnati, he's going to be starting up there for his first start as a Buckeye.
Replacing Ben Finley is Akron quarterback Taj Bullock. No incidental contact, no targeting, and like we said, history has a way of repeating itself. Davison Igbinosun stays in the game alongside fellow cornerback Denzel Burke.
It's almost the exact play that you talked about from last year. I remember watching it with you and just going, well, what a way to start the season defensively. Of course, you know how it shook out at the end. It looks like it could be the same thing here.
We were halfway up to the sun up in Indiana.
It was pretty hot up there.
1st and 10 Akron at the 42-yard line of the zip zone. Taj Bullock, the former Virginia Tech Hokie, barks out signals. Twins receivers tight to the formation to the right, single receiver left. Simmons in at running back. Four down lineman for Ohio State. Bullock with a cross-shoulder throw to the right sideline. Simmons makes the catch, tumbles and pirouettes outside the 45, and he's brought down right near the numbers. And making the tackle there was Jordan Hancock, the nickelback.
And what I just noticed on that one here, partner, Sonny Styles was actually at middle linebacker in that one. He was the one barking out the orders. He said, cover weak side, go the far side boundary, push them forward. He knew a sweep pass was coming, and it is still pretty good chunk when you look at the offensive side.
Pickup of 6, 2nd and 4, Akron at the 48-yard line. Right hash. Single linebacker. Bullock the snap, hands to Simmons, plunges between right guard and right tackle. Sonny Styles anchors the stop along with safety Lathan Ransom, returning from a season-ending injury. It's 3rd and 2 with no score.
And they're right at the 50 as well. This is the exact point you want to be if you're the Ohio State defense. 3rd and 2, you can expect them to potentially rush the box. You even see Caleb Downs. He's playing very close to the second level. You expect him to be that rover. Watch the quarterback, see if they go play action or if they go design run.
Downs, freshman of the year nationally out of Alabama, comes to Ohio State. He's the high safety along with Lathan Ransom. Tight end fakes the indirect snap. It goes to Bullock on 3rd and 1. Pulls back, throws it right side. Hauled in by Newell, the tight end, and runs inside the 35 of Ohio State for a first down. And the Zips, with a little trickery and misdirection, able to pick up the first down.
And that's exactly what they did, a fake play action. You fake the handoff to Simmons, he runs away, becomes that lead blocker to your left. Little dump off pass to Jake Newell, the starting tight end. Gets around, moves the chains, and you're in a good spot here if you're Akron.
1st and 10, Zips at the Ohio State 38. 12:15 to go, first quarter, no score. Bullock fakes the handoff, dashes up the middle to the left of the center, and he's tackled after a gain of 3. That Ohio State interior defensive line of Tyleek Williams and Ty Hamilton, TNT, conjoining for the stop.
And it was one of those nicknames you hear and you think about it for a second, then you go, of course, Tyleek and Ty. But they are explosive right in the middle, and that's exactly what you need from your nose tackle and D tackle.
No doubt about it. 2nd and 7, Akron at the Ohio State 35, right hash. 2 receivers left. Bullock pulls in the bell tie snap, fakes the handoff, tucks and runs it down the right numbers at the 25, and he bulldozes his way to the 23-yard line of OSU between the right numbers and right hash. C.J. Hicks leading in on the stop. So was Denzel Burke.
Are we really surprised, though, to see Taj Bullock here running the ball? He was considered one of the top 20 dual-threat quarterbacks in the U.S. coming out of East Orange in high school.
At 162 yards and 4 touchdowns on 16 carries on the ground last year. 271 yards on 32 completions in the air. 11 minutes to go in the first quarter. Akron driving, no score against Ohio State. 1st and 10 at the Buckeyes 23. 3 receivers wide, high snap over the white crown helmet of Bullock. He picks it up back towards his 35 of Ohio State. And a missed snap from center Tyler Williams, the Alpharetta, Georgia native.
And they lost 10-plus yards on that. They're back at the 37. It looked like from their snap to Tyler Williams, just a bit too much on it. Maybe a little too slick with the hands right off the top of the hands from Bullock. He's lucky he even got to it and slipped and fell on it, because if he didn't get there in time, partner, you had the edges of Sawyer and JTT running and trying to converge on the ball, either be a pressure man for Bullock or try to get it.
2nd and 24 from the Ohio State 38. You go to the air here?
Yes, 100%. You have to.
2 high safeties, press coverage. 4 down linemen for Ohio State, a pair of linebackers. Bullock gathers for the snap. Tuimoloau rushes him. Bullock scrambles right, and he's taken down. JTT with the first Buckeye sack of the year.
And when you talk about going to the air and playing that press coverage, the Ohio State secondary locked in. And if you're Bullock, you realize, I don't have much time here. Roll to your right. You got to watch out for that left edge. JT Tuimoloau.
It's 3rd down, 28 to go for Akron. No score in this ball game. 9:45 to go in the first quarter. Akron's first possession. Ohio State was forced to punt. Israel pulled the motion man into the left slot. 3 receivers left. Extra tight end right. Simmons in at running back from the 41 of OSU. Helmet high snap to Bullock. Screen pass left side. Hauled in. Bobby Golden dashes off left side to the 35, and he's tackled at the 31-yard line by Denzel Burke. Sonny Styles and Tyleek Williams who raced back to flag him down. That is a pickup of 10, 4th and 18 though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still 4th and a million at this point. You have to throw the house at it if you're going to go for it here. Do you bring out the kicking unit? And that looks like exactly what they'll do with Garrison Smith.
The former Ohio State walk-on, then spent 2 years at McNeese State. In his former stadium, going to try a 48-yard field goal from the left hash. From right to left. He awaits the home. The snap is back. The ball is down. Kick is up. Bend over end, and it is good. Garrison Smith drains a 48-yarder in his first field goal as an Akron Zip. 3-0 Akron with 14:02 to go, capping off a 10-play, 42-yard drive.
That's the way to do it. I mean, you look at this defense for Ohio State, they're looked at as one of the best, if not the best defense in all of America. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with that title. And a team like Akron, who went 2-10 last year and 1-7 in the MAC, nobody would expect them to hold the lead this early. But then again, it's those small plays, whether it's a wrinkle you have or having to go to Bullock and run the ball, they find a way to get up. It's early, but that's the way you want to start it.
Regardless of how this game results, Akron can say it led in this game. It's 3-0. Akron leading number 2 Ohio State, 8:44 to go in the first quarter. We'll pause for station ID on the official student radio home of Ohio State Athletics, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. 2:44 left. Ohio State leading Akron, the number 2 team in the country, getting on the board on the first career touchdown of Jeremiah Smith, the first ever freshman at Ohio State to take home Iron Buckeye honors and the top recruit in his class, wasting no time to introduce himself to CFB. Jaden Fielding will kick it from left to right. Jordan Castleberry, former St. Edward Eagle, product of Michigan, Maryland, and UT Martin in his 4th stop on the college tour, is under the ball with his heels on the goal line to our right. Sun peeking out of the pewter gray sky. Fielding boots it away, and it hits the white-painted C of the turf red-painted Ohio State end zone to our right.
Partner, there's a point we haven't talked about yet. It's the 2-minute warning or the 2-minute break or whatever they want to call it at this point. But there's 44 seconds. It's basically, and I'll put basically in air quotes here, a free timeout in certain situations. You always see teams talk about how we're going to do this 2-minute drill. And I brought it up to Connor Schuh, one of the people on the call in the second half. If Ohio State had that extra timeout in the Notre Dame game, how does that play a factor in making it a little easier to get the victory?
That certainly can throw a wrinkle in things. Akron 1st and 10 at its own 25-yard line. Ben Finley back in at quarterback, pulls in the snap, throws it to the right sideline. It's hauled in by the running back who makes the catch out of the backfield, and to haul it in is Charles Kellum.
And just a weird play in general. Kellum moving over. It was a fake handoff as well to Faison Wilson, who's coming off the line. The wide receiver was in the slot. You just dump it off to your right, a little dart pass. Just try to move it as much as you can. They're 2nd and 1, though, so pretty good game there.
7-3 Ohio State. 2 minutes, 20 seconds hand ticking in the first quarter after a pickup of 9. Kellum still in at running back to the left of Finley. 4-down lineman for Ohio State. Hicks and Stiles are the linebackers. Quick toss right sideline. It's hauled in by Akron wide receiver.
I believe that was Taj Bullock. I believe that they just put in Taj Bullock as a running back and then had him move out wide. Yeah, that's Taj Bullock. Who thought we talked about seeing wrinkles here, partner? I didn't expect to see a 2-quarterback set for the Zips here.
Flabbergasted everybody. Taj Bullock still in. He's to the right of the right tackle, Daquan Thomas. Pickup of 4 for the first down. It's 1st and 10. Akron at their own 39-yard line. Pitch to the right side for Bullock. The receiver turned quarterback's going to throw, and he completes it to the right sideline for Charles Kellum. And C.J. Hicks ushered him out of bounds with the clock running at under a minute and a half.
Are they going flea flicker at this point? I mean, it's pretty early on. I understand when you look at the timing of everything as well. But what is going on here?
Tyleek Williams, the D tackle, checks out. Hero Kanu checks in for Ohio State. 2nd and 7, Akron at the 42-yard line of the Zips. Final minute of the first quarter. Buckeyes run a 4-2-5. Finley gathers for the snap, steps up, and C.J. Hicks brings him down for his first college sack.
Runs right through the line as well, right up the middle. The space broken up from TNT at nose tackle and D tackle. Brings C.J. Hicks, who's filling in at middle linebacker for Cody Simon today. You said that first sack, and it was just open. Nobody was there, and Finley just has to eat it.
That's a loss of 8. Caden Curry and Mitchell Melton check in as the defensive ends. Akron has a 3rd and 15 with 30 seconds left first quarter. Number 2, Ohio State up 7-3. Finley and Kellum operating out of the gun. Single receiver right. Letter high snap to Finley. Checks it down to the right flat. Incomplete. Looking for Charles Kellum. Making a run out of the backfield. 4th and 15 upcoming with 14 seconds left in the first quarter. And Ohio State leading 7-3.
And it was a complete defensive change for Ohio State. As you saw Sonny Styles, he went more from a will linebacker, more to a nickel back in that spot, and just playing trips left and understanding that if he's got to play the zone in the middle, you do it. If you got to play underneath on the B option, you go for it. And anyway, they tried to go to the right side, and it still didn't work.
The punter is Dante Jackson to our right. Under it is Brandon Innes. Left-footed punt is a wild one. A wobbly punt is caught by an Ohio State staffer on the near sideline bench at the 39 of Ohio State's own. That is a 27-yard punt.
That was a weird one. I don't know if there was some contact. I don't know if that was just a bad ball. He had a bad foot on it. I'm honestly not too sure there. But either way, if you're OSU, I'd be thanking your lucky stars on that one. You don't got to start it all the way back. And not saying that there's a problem in that situation with Brandon Innes being the punt returner, but this is the first time he's returned a punt in college or had an attempt to return a punt in college.
Took some punts at American Heritage. Ohio State has not returned a punt for a touchdown since 2014. Innes said he's going to take one to the house this year. Said that a few weeks back.
Hey, why not do it, right?
Got to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Number 2, Ohio State leads Akron 7-3. 8 seconds left in the first quarter. He's Austin Crume. I'm Tyler Danburg. Connor Canfield and Connor Schuh have a football Connor cast coming up for the second half. It's a quartet today.
We do our best. You know,
We try.
I mean, it's football. Everybody loves football. Let's be real about that.
Special thank you to Jerry Emig and Mike Bashford as well, the 2 Ohio State football sports information directors and associate and assistant athletic directors of communications for putting us up there.
I mean, there's a lot going on here, partner. We got a minute 50. I feel like we should talk this out. There's 8 seconds to go here in this first. What have you liked? What have you not liked in this situation? I know it is very early, 7-3 OSU.
I like Will Howard airing it out a little bit more, kind of a gunslinger. He's looked great. The interior defensive line of Ohio State has looked great. Akron's deception has really thrown a wrinkle in things, and it seems like when they've gotten tricky with it and have thrown it to Taj Bullock, that's when things can elevate a little bit more.
I mean, we've seen a lot of action from Brian McCoy, Antavius Fish, Darian Lewis, Devontae Golden-Nelson with a really good coverage against Egbuka in this close side of the end zone. There's something to say about that. I mean, you look at a team in the Zips who have won 4 games in the past 2 seasons under Joe Moorhead, who we know the experience he's had at Oregon. He's been there. You got Mississippi State. He was the head coach for a couple of years. There's a couple things that you see and you go, this isn't really adding up for the Moorhead that you know, who's been in the SEC and who's been in the former Pac-12.
That's a great point to bring up. That experience can certainly help. Akron defensively, they were able to usher in a couple of second and third down late possession types of stops, but ultimately it was that touchdown for 16 yards. Jeremiah Smith making his first touchdown grab. That's been the difference so far in this game, but what have you liked about Akron defensively?
I think the biggest thing for them, and not just player or personnel or rushing the box with their second level, it's been that of the transfers they have, there were 6 that were slotted on the depth chart of starting. One of them, Paul Lewis III, who's been involved. You look at how he's done. Okay, Justin Anderson from Foothills Community College. He's been a secondary guy, but he's still helped. Nathan Kapanga, we haven't seen as much from him yet, but he's still been active at nose tackle.
And on top of that, the Zips return their top 4 tacklers, but they trail number 2 Ohio State 7-3 with 8 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Buckeyes ball at their own 41-yard line. Howard and Henderson in the gun. Twins receivers to the left. G. Scott Jr. extra tight end right with Will Kazmarek. Press coverage for the Zips. Howard hands to Henderson around the right end. He's got a convoy and a broken tackle, 45-50. Ushered out of bounds at the Akron 47-yard line for an Ohio State first down with 2 seconds left in the first quarter.
And you got 2 seconds left. What do you do here in this situation? Maybe try to get a false start and move it, because you're going to have to flip which way you go anyway within the next couple of minutes.
Clock ran despite Henderson getting it out of bounds. So that takes us into the second quarter. Akron jumped on top first after a 42-yard drive, resulted in a Garrison Smith 48-yard field goal, but then Jeremiah Smith got hit with a throw right on the money from Will Howard. Jeremiah Smith contorted his way through one-on-one coverage to make a 16-yard touchdown catch for his first TD grab as a college football player. It's 7-3, number 2 Ohio State leading Akron. Austin's got the play-by-play next on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, the official student radio home of Ohio State athletics.
Back here, start of the second quarter. Ohio State leading over the Akron Zips 7-3 on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Tyler Danburg, Austin Crume, Connor Canfield, Connor Schuh. They'll join you guys in the second half. Partner, we have been looking at this game now for, I believe, 15 minutes, if my math actually works with me, which it is today, which is a good thing. What have you liked, disliked? I know I just asked you about it, but one quick word you've liked offensively and disliked offensively.
Offensively, we'll go with the air raid. Ohio State's been a little bit more balanced. You can tell that they weren't able to assemble anything on the ground, and Chip Kelly likes to run the football, and you know that because how do you get two of the best Power 5 running backs in the same room together? You got to have a vision, and you got to have a belief that they're both going to get a lot of touches, and that's been the case. But that's also one thing that I disliked is that the offensive line has not really lived up to their form so far. But again, it's a long game. It's a new line as well in terms of Austin Saraveld slotting in at left guard. Carson Hintzman's going to come out at right guard as well.
It looks like they're switching sides of the field. Ohio State going from right to left. Zips in their all whites. It's got their last names and numbers in navy blue. Inside and outside all white caps as well. Ohio State in their scarlets with the silver buckets. And it's 1st and 10 on the 46. 7-3 Ohio State. Will Howard with a man on his left hip. It is Travion Henderson. It's a snap, handoff, a fake one to Henderson. Cuts it off to Egbuka at the 40, sheds a tackle outside the near boundary, and he keeps moving forward for a big gain.
That's what Egbuka does so well, is off the catch. He makes it then a quick turn to the left. He's able to break immediate separation from Paul Lewis III.
It was a low snap as well from Howard. He's able to get it right in between the legs, cut it off, and you said getting away from Paul Lewis. It's a first down OSU, 1st and 10 on the 30, 14-40 here to go. Trips right for OSU. G. Scott playing right next to the line. Travion Henderson still on that hip of Howard in shotgun. Now calling out an audible to 2 high safety press for the Zips. Gets the snap, drops back 3 yards. Look to his left, still plenty of time in the pocket. Still moving, now rushing to his right is Howard. Trotting back all the way to the 50 and just going to chuck it away and make sure nobody gets to him.
That's exactly what you have to do. Lama Lavea, former New Mexico State Aggie, came pressuring Will Howard. It seemed he just kept drifting back down that right hash and finally had to discard it.
Buckeyes now on the left hash as well as they had to discard that play. As you just mentioned, 2nd and 10 on the Zips 30. Looks like they'll flip the hip, keep the same back in Henderson. Trips left. Now they move G. Scott actually over to the right. So 2 left, 2 right. But Henderson is now in pistol formation. Man in motion is Tate. They hand it off up to Henderson. He cuts through around the B gap, gets towards the 35-yard line. A couple of yards gained, but still that second level for the Zips really working hard. And Nathan Kapunga.
Brought down by C.J. Nunnally. And Nathan Kapunga.
OSU now asking a couple questions. Who do we want in the tight end slot here? They go to Will Kazmarek, the Ohio U transfer. But you had talked about the mix-up of backs with Henderson and Judkins. Henderson still staying in shotgun formation. Left hash, 3rd and 7 on the 27. Tate in motion, now inside playing off the block. Howard, it's a handoff to Henderson around the line. He got a block, he's got another. Flips around and twirls through the defense. And moving his way up the line, Amon Greenwood with the stop. But the Bucks are still going to have to move as well. And Tavius Fish on there to clean it up.
They brought in Carnell Tate as a wingback off that right side of the line as well. A lot of deception for Ohio State. Akron has certainly given you many different looks, but Ohio State also getting creative too.
Shimon Cooper coming in as well. A bunch of guys leaving, a bunch coming on. Lama Lavea moving off. Marcus Moore Jr. coming in at nose tackle. And now it looks like there's a whistle being blown. Let a man get off the field. Defensive injury, now a timeout for the Zips. So, partner, we'll stop it here. It's 4th and 5 on the 25, 13-11 to go. Ohio State up 7-3. And it was a pretty quick timeout. But it looks like Ohio State going trips right. Man left on the island is Jeremiah Smith. Henderson looks like he could be in a block spot here for Will Howard. Comes set right there at the 25. Drops back, looks to his right. Dumps it off to Egbuka. Late hit, but not going to be called a flag. Nothing about it, just an incompletion. Great defense from Devontae Golden-Nelson.
Yeah, that's just great coverage there off the edge. It was a little bit of a zig route. Egbuka cut to his right, then turned it back out to the left. And on that right sideline, Howard got the design he was looking for, but it was just great coverage all around.
And it's not a bad spot to be in as well. As much as you go 3 and out, it's now 1st and 10 on the Buckeye 25 for the Zips. if you're going to want to be in a spot where you have to flip it over, you might as well be as close to your own side as possible just in case the defense is able to tip one up. Maybe work on a tip drill, a fumble. I mean, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah, this pass defense has worked really well for Akron. Ohio State just seemed like they haven't been able to really get past that third level. A lot of talent, a lot of great receivers and tight ends, and Will Howard, a tremendous quarterback. But you can make the argument that Akron, they have a Power 5 caliber pass defense especially, and they've been able to get hands in passing lanes and break things up.
I think my biggest question here is for you, Tyler, is there's a lot of national attention and a lot of pressure on this Ohio State team. I mean, you saw Nick Saban say earlier on College Game Day, and I can't speak it specifically because of some of the expletives he used, but when you spend $20 million on a roster, if you don't play the proper people, it doesn't matter. Do you see that mattering now? As much as it's still early on, you're only up by 4 over Akron. When, and I will ask when, does that pressure potentially hit this OSU team?
Probably after one more offensive drive. I think for Akron, the goal is to stay conservative, stay contained defensively for the first few drives. But if this is still a reachable deficit towards the end of the first half, why not let things fly a little bit? We saw in that second possession, especially early on when Akron was able to get Ohio State into some third down situations inside minus territory. They showed blitz. They rushed 6. There was a second down pass for Will Howard where Akron rushed 7. Howard was able to complete a pass and break contain, but nonetheless, the Zips have flirted a little bit with the extra pressure. However, they've dropped back a little bit, and that's what you have to do when you're now trailing again, and you're outfavored, you're outnumbered, but the Zips have not been outmatched today.
It is 7-3 Ohio State, 12:59 to go here in the second quarter. Tyler Danburg, Austin Crume along with you. Biggest question here, partner. You're now Ben Finley. You've been put in a spot, you just get a 3 and out. One, is the OSU defense annoyed enough to keep it moving, as we're going to find out here in just a second as they get on the field. But is Ben Finley able to work the air? We know he got his bell rung a little bit earlier. Is he in a proper mindset? We know it's hot. We know the situation. You're an underdog by about 1 million, it seems. How does that affect your play calling as Finley runs out? It looks like he's going to be in a spot with Jordan Simmons, a former Michigan State Spartan, right on his hip. Trips left, 1 man on the right. And really moving forward with what they got. And trying to find this offensive side. They're playing one high safety for the Bucks. It's Caleb Downs calling out the signs. They go under pressure. Handoff right to Jordan Simmons and a rush off the line. A great one there as well. Jordan Hancock moving it forward. Second and 11 on the 24, so a loss of 1. Nothing too crazy, but it was a weird play. It was that triple option we talked about earlier, but not for Ohio State. It was Akron trying to play it forward. And now we're going to see that 2-quarterback set with Finley and Bullock coming back into the game. I mean, partner, I've never seen this before.
Rutgers did it 2 years ago. They utilized gadget guy Johnny Langan, but outside of that, I've never seen that either.
And they're playing very close to the line. Ohio State, they're playing about as drop 4 as they possibly can. Rush 4, middle 3. So back to that 4-3-4 we had talked about. Man in motion is Bullock. The snap, it's a bubble screen. Finley in the pocket looks deep. It gets the open man and Adrian Norton, and the ball comes away. Do the Buckeyes have it? It's Denzel Burke, and they say they do. The Zips defense came off the field immediately, realizing that Taj Bullock was the intended there. You went to see him go on that route, and it just does not work after the pick. Denzel Burke, welcome back, BIA.
Well, during the summer, Denzel Burke said that a goal of his was to get more INTs and PBUs. He was working endlessly on the jugs machine, catching passes, and that time it almost warped into his arms. Bullock was the intended target. Seemed like he grabbed it for a moment. Also, great pressure from the edge. Mitchell Melton got to the quarterback, Finley.
Now Ohio State working it back. 1st and 10 on the 33. Henderson on the left hip of Will Howard, the Downington, Pennsylvania grad student, former K-State man who hands it off. Up right to Henderson's got a big gap and a B. Gets around 1 tackle in the second. Cuts it back out. He's at the 21, and the Buckeyes move for the first down. Already moving the ball up quick. Damon David on the coverage to get him down. And a quick handoff and a play fake, actually, as they hand it off to Innes, who was in motion. And a rush off the line. Amon Greenwood, who came in close, and Terrence Thomas to help him back. I mean, they're wasting no time here. We've seen huddle. We've seen go with a play call. I feel like that's just more of an audible situation. As Will Kazmarek comes in, Brandon Innes comes out. It's a 2 tight end set for the Buckeyes.
Line of scrimmage remains the 22-yard line.
They'll keep it at the 22, 2nd and 10, so no motion. 7-3 Ohio State. 11:40 to go here in the second quarter. 2 right on the right side. It's Tate and Smith. Man on the hip is now Judkins. He goes out wide. Howard in a collapsing pocket. Looks over. Right out of the hands of Kazmarek. Going to the corner. Paul Lewis III, the boundary safety to break it up.
Trade that little corner right to the front left pylon of the end zone for Kazmarek. A guy that models his game after George Kittle, one of his favorite tight ends to watch film of. He's got a big imposing frame as well. 6'5".
Kazmarek, 22 receptions last year and 243 yards with 2 touchdowns. And Ohio State now going trips right. Man alone left on the island. It's Jeremiah Smith. No surprise. Judkins still in at the hip. Howard now going audible. And Judkins flips hips left to right. Still the gunslinger. Howard awaiting. Dropping back to his right under pressure. As a man, he slides off one, slides off a second. Looks at that back corner for Smith. Goes way out of the end zone. Good coverage as well for Cartrell White to make sure that there was nothing there. 4th and 10.
Just a magnificent pressure by Antavius Fish in the B gap there to break through. He was the one that first touched Will Howard, who somehow was able to elude Antavius Fish as well as Lama Lavea.
We talked about that midsection. They're really getting after Howard. As much as he is evasive and it helps them, there's not much you can do. As Ohio State, they're bringing out the kicking team in Jaden Fielding, going for a 39-yarder at the left hash. It's Joe McGuire is the holder, long snapper John Furlman. Everybody comes set. Same thing with Fielding. Running back at the 32 awaiting. Here's the snap, the hold, the kick up with the right leg from Texas. Goes up, twirling, and right through as Ohio State up by 7, 10-3. It's going to be an interesting one, and defense already on the prowess. Same with Antavius Fish and the Zips. We'll step aside for just a second. Ohio State up 10-3 on the student home of Ohio State Athletics. .11:23 here to go in the second quarter at Ohio Stadium. Tyler Danburg, Connor Schuh, Connor Canfield. I'm Austin Crume. Thank you for joining us. It is 10-3 Ohio State after a 39-yard field goal from Jaden Fielding. after a pretty decent drive. And we had talked about it a little bit in between, and we had talked about it just in general, and a lot of the national attention is talking about it. How is Will Howard going to be able to prepare in this situation? He doesn't have to be a game manager. He just has to have the offense flow through him. And here, Tyler, I'll ask you this quick. As Ohio State about to boot it off right to left, is he in that game manager mindset, or is he just trying to have the offense flow through him?
I think he is in that game manager mindset. He said earlier on Tuesday that one-on-one balls look a little bit differently. One-on-one balls with Ohio State's receivers make it look like they're open.
Jaden Fielding inside the Big Ten painted spot at the 35. He runs up to the 45, foot to leather, end over end towards Bobby Golden at the end zone. He puts the hands up and lands right in the middle of the turf O. And they'll go to the 25, and the Zips will look to bring it back out with Ben Finley.
At the 25-yard line.
We even talked about how improbable it seemed that Denzel Burke came away with that pick.
And you brought up a good point, too. It's very reminiscent of that play he made in the end zone against Michigan in that loss in the Big House in the final week of the season. That was called that was called a touchdown, actually, for Roman Wilson. But nonetheless, kind of a revenge type of moment for Denzel Burke.
Charles Kellum, the running back, on the left hip of Ben Finley. Taj Bullock as well playing right side. Two receivers, right, two left. It looks like a one tight end split. It's Connor Kravac who's playing off the edge. It's a fake handoff, a boot, now a flea flicker to Bullock, who runs around at the 20. JTT comes from around the back. It's a loss of one. The Buckeye defense looked great.
Tuimoloau has had a great start, and that's the key for him, is to get him going. Once he gets revved up, he's a tough guy to stop, but his second TFL has a sack to go with it, a tackle for a loss there.
And luckily, so they actually get back to the line, so just a lucky spot for Ben Finley. 2nd and 10 on the 25. He's setting up trips right. One man left. It's Adrian Norton going one-on-one against Davison Igbinosun. Igbinosun now playing press. And Ohio State dropping the two safety move, and Downs in ransom. There's 9 to go on the running clock. Looks like they're going audible. Finley sets up the snap right to his shoulder, hands it off to Simmons, moves up the line, still pushing through, cuts around the defenders, gets towards the 26-yard line, and a gain of a couple.
Sorry, I was more so focused on watching backup quarterback Johnny Brookhart giving the signs and doing the gritty as a side.
That's
but
interesting.
It's interesting communication to see how everybody's approaching it with a new reform in play call.
And how do you answer it on this one? The Ohio State fans getting loud. 3rd and 8 on the 27 after a 2-yard gain for Finley and Kellum. Finley in the slot with Kellum right beside him. Man in motion, Newell right to left, now playing inside the slot right off the line. Ohio State dropping one. It's Ransom. Still in the pocket. Finley comes up right down. It's the rusher and Caleb Downs, and JT Tuimoloau out to stop him down and go a 3-and-out.
That D-line of Williams, Hamilton, Sawyer, and Tuimoloau is a murderer's row of defensive linemen. And Downs was able to finish him off. Tuimoloau got it started.
The only thing you can do at this point is punt it away, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Slotted their own 22. It's 4th and 13. I don't think we're going to see a fake off here at this one. As Brandon Innes is back to receive. He's sitting at the 33 at his side. The lefty punts it away. Innes runs to his right at the 30. Bounces away, still going. Collects the ball inside his 20, now cutting out to his left, inside the right hash, still juking around a couple defenders, spinning, falling, using his hand to push him up, gets an extra 2 yards, but he's inside the 30, and what looked like could have been a pretty good run.
And after Dante Jackson, the Akron punter, had a 29-yard boot, they bring in Avery Book, and he blasts it. If Brandon Innes doesn't pick that up, it's down inside the 10-yard line. You're looking at a 60-plus yard punt.
And calling timeout here on this one. 9 minutes ago, 10-3 Ohio State. We'll step aside for just a second in week 1 of college football. 9 minutes ago, you're in the second quarter. Tyler Danburg, Austin Crume along with you on the student home of Ohio State Athletics, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. The Ohio State offense moving back out, trying to continue their ways after a great defensive half against the Zips. Great way to go about it. We see Judkins out there, Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith as well, Carnell Tate. Some of the usual suspects you're going to see throughout this season. This Ohio State team, we've seen one touchdown so far. It was a nice, beautiful lob to Jeremiah Smith, the true freshman. And no real surprise here for the Bucs on the own 24, 1st and 10, 9 to go. Here's Howard. Takes the handoff, flips it right towards Judkins, cuts around the C-gap, still moving. Jumps around one of the defenders. It was Paul Lewis III to get him at the legs. Devontae Golden Nelson to get him in the midsection. And a 5-yard gain for the Ole Miss transfer.
Hey, you can see the explosion there that Quinshon Judkins had. Longest he's broken off today.
And already moving right back to Judkins. A quick play fake and a boot over to Emeka Egbuka, cutting around the defense. And one of his offensive teammates in Carnell Tate chucked his body inside of the line to make sure Devontae Golden Nelson didn't get there in time.
Yeah, that's a great job by Emeka Egbuka pre-snap, because he's able to quickly cut to his right. Looked like maybe a hot route there where he was able to get out to the right flat and then get some yak yards.
The 41-yard line, 1st and 10, 8:15 to go, running clock. 2 right, 2 left for Ohio State. On that left is Carnell Tate and Emeka Egbuka. Now going audible here for Howard. Still has Judkins on his hip. It's a handoff right to him. Cuts to his left. Good stop over at the edge from Zen Michalski. Runs back up the middle, right inside of the 50. Moving into the positive side. And Quinshon Judkins still being held down from Lewis. But, partner, you said he found that open space. He found it again on a first down.
And like you said, Michalski paves the way there between left guard and left tackle Josh Simmons.
Trips left, 1 man right. Of course, it's the island guy in Smith. Timeout on the field for a defensive injury here for Akron. Gotta make sure everybody's okay. It looks like Paul Lewis III. Getting down to him, knee down as well. Just hoping he's okay. It's actually Nathan Kapongo, my apologies. Both of them are playing up towards the line. See both teams converging now towards their sideline. Ohio State near side, Akron far side. It is 10-3 Ohio State, 7:39 to go here in the second quarter. Tyler, it looks a little bit more methodical at this point now offensively.
Yeah, the run block has started to get sealed a little bit more, especially that left side. You look at Josh Simmons and Austin Saraville. They've done a good job. Zen Michalski filling in as well to play a couple snaps. The big gains on the ground have come off the left side of the line.
And they're keeping Judkins in as well. Trips left, 1 man right. It's still Smith. It was the same play they set up before. 2 high safeties for the Zips for Howard. 1st and 10 on the 47. Takes the snap, little boot to his left. It's Judkins, gets a couple blocks from his wide receivers. Still up on the legs. Man tried to bring him down. It was Damon David. The rest of the Zips have to pick it up. And only a couple of yards for Quinshon. Exactly 2 2nd and 8 on the 45. And now a couple extra seconds to set it up. Henderson now back in, can give Judkins a couple of seconds to rest. Here's Will Howard. He's still got the 2 receivers on. Egbuka man in motion left to right, now playing right inside the slot. So now trips right, extra man, Jelani Thurman, the tight end, is going to block at the end. It's a handoff to Henderson. He cuts it off. He gets a man blitzing, trips over his own feet at the 41, pummeling and punching the ground, unhappy with himself even after the game.
Yeah, that cut was going to be an explosive one as well. Would have ripped off at least 5 more yards had he not slipped. However, that is a great run, though, for 70 yards by Travion Henderson.
3rd and 3, and they're moving quick. Trips left. It's another handoff flag beforehand. They hit to Egbuka in the flat. Gets around Jelani Thurman. Still in bounds. Cuts it back. Being held up by everyone in the middle. C.J. Denali IV, the main man to bring him down. The biggest question is this flag on the OSU offense for a false start.
Illegal formation, more than 4 in the backfield offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
Well, I didn't expect to see a quad man backfield, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it did not have that on the bingo card today.
Either way, they'll have to move it back. 3rd and 3 is what it currently says. 6:21 to go here in the second quarter. Ohio State 10, Akron 3. All trying to reset. It's still that same set now, actually running 2 middle linebackers for the Zips. Looks like they're going to go more nickel in this situation. Darian Lewis, the nickelback, going one-on-one against Innes in the slot. Howard dropping back. Good pressure up from Travion Henderson. It's a dump off to Carnell Tutt all alone. Sheds 2 tackles. Chucked out of bounds by Paul Lewis inside the 30. A good gain and a first down.
That's a heck of a blitz pickup there by Travion Henderson. Planted one on Antavius Fish. And he was fired up after that as well.
Met him in the middle. Did not expect to see that from Henderson. So now on the right hash, he's on his right hip. He fakes it off. Actually, he gives a play fake. It's Howard. He runs it up, gets the man slipping at the 20. Now at the 15, lowering the shoulder, dumping it in, pointing forward. First down in the red zone. Devontae Golden Nelson had to come in off the corner coverage of Egbuka just to stop the quarterback, Howard.
You talk about extending the pocket. Will Howard has been doing that today, even when he's faced blitz. Just a heck of a job there, improvising by Will Howard.
Howard now in pistol, 5:16 to go. 1st and 10 on the 10. It's a red zone coverage, now dropping the 3 receivers left, all in to play the line. It's a handoff to Henderson. He gets a cut, spins around one man, drops down inside. He's met right in the middle by every one of the Zips secondary. Maybe a gain of 1, and that's exactly what it is. 2nd and 9 on the 9. Now if you're Ohio State in this situation, you got to find a way to really help yourself get involved. A couple defensive changes for the Zips. Looks like they're rushing more towards the front here, partner. Of still a 4-3-4 is what it looks like. And Ohio State trips right and 2 on the left now. And actually now go trips left and switch it up. It's a play fake action right over the middle. Jeremiah Smith through coverage. Touchdown, Ohio State. His 2nd one of the season and of his college career. This time he cuts over the middle and the Buckeyes extend the lead.
So much hype around this guy, and he has lived up to it in his first 2 quarters. After 16 yards on a lob to the left end zone, this time it's a 9-yard catch on a crosser over the middle. A debut to remember.
9 plays, 76 yards, 4 minutes, 30 seconds taken off the clock. It is 16-3 as Fielding comes set for the extra point. Trying to have the Buckeyes up by 14. Here's the hold to snap the kick. It's up and through, and my goodness, partner, I did not think that Jeremiah Smith would not only get the first touchdown, but the 2nd touchdown of the game.
Well, Ryan Day was asked about Jeremiah Smith this week, and he said he doesn't want to give too much on Jeremiah Smith when asked about him, because there's so much hype surrounding number 4 in the Scarlet tops. So basically, he didn't want to say too much about him that has been said already. But there are people around the Chaminade Madonna Prep program, around Jeremiah Smith growing up, and they've talked about him as if he's one of the greatest specimens they've seen on the football field, especially because of his work ethic. And this has been something that his dad reportedly told 24/7 Sports, that Jeremiah Smith has wanted since he was 9 years old. He's living out a 9-year-old dream right now.
Tops it off with a 90-yard touchdown for his 2nd of the game. And the freak of nature, Jeremiah Smith, continues. Actually chucked up the 0-8 sign with his hands to the south end zone. He did it to the north end zone on the first one. He's covered all bases for the Ohio State faithfuls. Fielding kicks it off from the 45, going end over the head. And Jaden Crusenberry puts it in, goes out of the painted end zone, and they'll go to the 25s. Ohio State up 2 touchdowns.
Flag on the play.
Flag is on the play. See if they call it against the kicking team or not. Everyone converging just to make sure on the
Illegal numbering. There were 2 players number 22 on the kicking team. That 5-yard penalty be added to the end of the kick. First down.
Well, partner, I said it once. I didn't expect to see a quad backfield. I did not expect to see 2 number 22s on defense here.
And also, Ohio State, they have a decoy number, which is 41. They usually give that to the extra offensive lineman. You have to report that you've changed your number, or there's somebody wearing a different number. And there was somebody that was wearing number 41 that is not actually numbered 41. and they did not report it. So that's why illegal numbering is called.
I was going to say, there's only one number 22. It's Calvin Simpson-Hunt, the sophomore cornerback from Waxahachie, Texas. And he was definitely out there. We've been seeing him do it the entire time. And it looks like he'll come off for this defensive slide and let Denzel Burke come back in. It is 1st and 10 on the 20. C.J. Hicks chucking the hands up on the right hash, trying to get the fans involved. Same thing with Jack Sawyer, the Pickerington North product. Ben Finley standing a couple of yards back in shotgun formation with Simmons on his left hip. Sonny Styles lurking. Look around, a cut to the end zone. Denzel Burke cuts off the end. It's Bobby Golden, cuts the tackle, pushed outside, up close to the 40. And Jordan Hancock just able to get him to push out. Denzel Burke got a little bit antsy up there.
And those are the chances you take in a game like this. Try to get that opposite right hand out to pluck it free. And good job by Bobby Golden there just to stay patient and make that catch. And then let the coverage do the rest.
Same thing now with Finley. It looks like the same exact spot, except it's tripped left. And the extra tight end, Jake Newell, playing on the right side against Sawyer. Could be a one-on-one. 1st and 10 on the 39. It's a handoff right to the running back. Actually, it's a play fake. He cuts it himself up the middle. And a good stop from Ty Hamilton to get right over the middle. Only a couple of yards for the Phoenix, Arizona quarterback.
His brother, Ryan Finley, knows plenty about playing in the Buckeye State. Played for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2019, 2020.
Knows about some Buckeye teams as well. Played for Houston, now C.J. Stroud's team. We're at 2nd and 5 after the good chunk run from the redshirt junior out of UC Berkeley. Gets a little dump-off handoff, looks to his left, collapsing pocket. Throw is way short. Amarion Granger was the intended receiver. Igbinosin playing close to him, but it wasn't a coverage problem, it was a distance problem.
Yeah, he undershot him there, and part of it's because there was a lot of separation and a lot of space to throw it in a crumbling pocket.
Ohio State, you hear that sound, you know what to expect. 3rd and 5 on the 44. 3:25 to go. Ohio State up 17-3 over the Zips. They are rushing 5. And Finley now going in motion. He cannot hear the play. It's getting loud in week 1 at the Schuh. He's got 10 to go on the running clock. It looks like he's got Bullock on his right hip along with him as well. And just in case, under pressure, he dumps it off to Simmons to his right, gets around the block. Ohio State, they meet him at the 2nd level. It was C.J. Hicks running across the field. Is it enough to move the chains? Yes, it is. 1st down Zips.
Jordan Simmons on the catch, and just enough, like you said. Jack Sawyer's been wreaking havoc in the backfield all day, just hasn't been able to finish, and Finley had to get it out quickly. He did exactly that. That's why you have that safety valve option. Hit Jordan Simmons in the right flat.
Also going to talk about C.J. Hicks. Normally the wide linebacker, now middle. He had to go play strong side. Normally he's the weak side linebacker, so completely shifting his game plan. It looks like Ohio State's going to expect that now, covering more on the far side. It's 2 receivers left and 1 on the right, the extra tight end. Looks like Wisner playing off the line. Little dump-off pass coverage for Finley. Throws it deep downfield over the left side. Incomplete, well in front of Bobby Golden. Good coverage from Igbinosin, but a sandwich coming in from JTT and Sawyer.
Davison Igbinosin made a play that basically reflects his style as a corner. He's a very press-heavy, chucking corner. He's physical, he plays with his hands, he's not afraid to do that. And that time, he allowed no separation on Bobby Golden.
And the junior out of Union, New Jersey was at Ole Miss in 2022. So he knows about Judkins as well, and he's seen that kind of play they've had together. It is 2nd and 10, going audible now for Finley. He's asking to protect the block. Ohio State showing blitz. Finley with the drop back, a couple to his left. It's a dump-off pass to his receiver, and Simmons, who he sent out wide in the 2nd level with a mixture of Smith and Styles. Really able to bring him down. Even Caleb Downs getting involved there. Same with Igbinosin to help with the legs. It is 3rd and 2, 2:30 to go. Partner, if they wanted to run this out to the 2-minute warning, they could. There is a 1-second separation from game clock and active ticking clock. I don't think that's what Ohio State's going to go with, but let's see if Finley does. He's got Simmons on his hip. They set up camp at the 42. Trips left, man in motion from right to left. Is that extra receiver for Akron? Looks like a timeout going as well for Ohio State. It was Taj Bullock who they had in motion, but it looks like they didn't like the look that they got, so a timeout for the Zips. And reset 2:02 on the game clock. They did come down to that 2-minute. little unsurprising given the fact of the energy and everything involved. But we'll step aside just along with them. 2:02 to go in the second quarter. Ohio State up 14 on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. .202 to go, right back in formation for Finley and the Zips. Man in motion, it is Taj Bullock. Now right to left, now he's under center. It's a fake-off handoff, and they go up the middle with a backup QB. Does he get the first down? It was 3rd and 2. We'll see if they did. Ty Hamilton right at the front, the D tackle. Based on the signs of the umpire waving the hands, it looks like they could be a yard short, dollar shy. Now inside 2 minutes as we take a replay.
Love this deception, though. And a nice job by Ben Finley to sell it. It's clearly designed miscommunication where Finley's looking to the sideline with his hands up in the air, like where's the sign, where's the signal, while Bullock takes the under center snap.
It's 4th and 1, immediately a timeout. I believe it's the under 2 timeout, or the now 2-minute warning. But you see Bullock, he goes right to left, then left to right, back right to left, and stops under center and gets it right from Tyler Williams.
And now it's going to be interesting. What do you do here? 4th and 1. You got to go up against this front four. That's a tough thing to do.
100%.
But then you also have to go to the air if you don't go to the ground. And that hasn't been the most fruitful experience because of Ohio State's ability in the secondary.
We haven't talked about him much. Caleb Downs. He has not had that big play yet, and of course it's coming. We all know it's coming. You guys at home know it's coming. I think the big question is the media going to focus on that? Because I've seen him rush the line, play that middle, and also go back into the deep ball zone. I'm waiting for that one play where you see Downs either get the block, whether he chops him down or just levels him right in the middle. There's the one play where Buckeye Nation then goes, okay, there he is.
Yeah, he had that tackle for loss, but that's also one of the things about being the safety is you make those big plays in the open field and in one-on-one deep balls, but when it's a lot of short routes, a lot of dump-offs, check downs, and run plays that don't reach beyond the second level, it's hard to make your presence known. So that's where Downs has gotten involved in some of the safety blitzes.
And Tim Walton, the secondary coach, had even said, Caleb Downs, who's a sophomore, of course, he's one of the best in Alabama last year. He played Michigan in the Rose Bowl at that one game. They say he is the traffic cop. He is calling the shots of a defense he has inserted himself in through the transfer portal. You do not hear that too often. And that really just shows the level of respect and honesty you see from Downs. And along with that, Matt Guerreri, the safeties coach, who's worked with him personally, when he first met with Downs after he had committed to Ohio State, they were watching snaps of all Alabama games, every snap that he played, and he said that Downs, coming out of his freshman year, could tell you the exact play, offensively, defensive coverage, and what he does before the clip played.
It's a wonderkin type of product, Caleb Downs. Only true freshman to lead Alabama in tackles since at least 1970.
I mean, there's something to be said about that. Just the way that it's all being played, as it's 4th and 1 here for the Zips. It'd be hard thinking that it would not be a design or run play here, and Ohio State realizes that. It looks like they're going to push everyone towards the box just in case. Looks like they're bringing out Adrian Norton, come inside as well. Jordan Simmons, Faison Wilson. I mean, you could chuck a million names out there. Akron's going to try to do everything they possibly can, as it's a shotgun set for Finley. On his hip is Simmons. Looking around, Ohio State defense moving around, trying to get the man in motion in Bullock. He's under center again, cuts around the gap, hits an open part of the field, and gets the first down at the 41. He did it twice in a row, and the Buckeyes couldn't stop it.
Just gashed his way through. It's more deception. It's like a sleight of hand trick. The front 7 of Ohio State thought run up the middle, but it was Bullock around the right end.
I mean, you go around that tackle, You got to thank Josh Blanchard for an incredible block as well. You know Jack Sawyer, we talked about his pressure all day. When you can upend a Rhino coming off the edge, I mean, that says a lot about your character and team building. Is Finley now with a first down? On the 39, a minute 30 to go, 1st and 10. Still in the same shotgun set with Simmons. Gets a snap, drops back 5 yards to the 50. Being chased around by Tyleek Williams, going towards the near side edge. Just chucks it away. Is it a pick from Ohio State? No, it's not. Off the hands of Jordan Hancock, covering at the near side.
And Hancock interrupted it just enough to the point where it popped up the white shoulder pads of the intended target, and Israel Polk.
I mean, we're going to talk about Tyleek Williams, a nose tackle, dropping his coverage, throwing the guy away, running to his left at this near side, and getting there as a cover man. As it is 2nd and 10, Ohio State really shifting that strong side. It's trips left, single man right. It's the tight end, Jake Newell, the Arizona State Sun Devil in 2022. As now it's a reset. Ohio State really just showing a zone, rushing 4. 2 linebackers in the middle, set the 4-2-5 coverage. Here comes the nickel. Hancock. Finley cuts to his left, throws it over. It's a bubble screen and a good drop down from the Ohio State secondary. And you hear that bell totting, it's 3rd down.
Arvell Reese getting in on the tackle there. Sophomore who, with Cody Simon's inactivity today, have to assume he could slide in to play a little bit more, and he's seen more snap time.
And they talked about Arvell Reese, the impressive grit that he's shown this summer. And a sophomore out of Cleveland, 6'4", 238. Helping his side, 3rd and 5 against the Zips. A minute 14 to go. Ohio State up by 14. Finley, who's done well for himself, fake clap. This one, he gets it. 3 men in coverage. The only thing he can do is chuck it towards his sideline. Incomplete, 4th and 5.
And the fact that he has no time to throw tells you how Akron's still starting to get things situated on the offensive line. You got to think, too, this is a unit, Austin, that only brings back a pair of starters. And most of these guys on the line are transfers, and the starters did not start every single game last year.
Tyleek Hamilton moves to D tackle. Ty Hamilton comes out. Kenyatta Jackson moves to nose. As they get set, Ohio State, they're rushing that again. The high safety is Downs against Finley, showing pressure. A minute 10, 4th and 5. Finley drops back a lot of time, rolling to his left, now towards the 40. He's still got open room. Stutter step goes out of bounds. Do they call it a first? We'll see. It looked like he could have gotten 5, maybe 6. Ohio State looks like they're going to call timeout regardless. I believe the officiating crew is going to call him short. Ohio State takes over, 1st and 10.
Yeah, Finley spun out of traffic, and it's Tyleek Williams who initially chased him and flagged him out of bounds. You were talking about it before, Austin, at Williams' ability to peel off and play as kind of an extra linebacker when the running back or receiver or quarterback gets to that 2nd level.
And I mean, it's insanity. He's 6'3", 327 moving that fast. You do not see that ever. I don't believe I've ever seen that kind of action. It's 1st and 10 on the 34 for Howard. He's got the snap, 5 yards, man rushing off the edge. Good block from the defense. Chucks it up to Jeremiah Smith, far side. Double coverage, Devontae Golden-Nelson just playing the screen, incomplete.
Howard had to get rid of it, and that's a smart veteran-type play because you don't want to put it in a spot where Jeremiah Smith, your freshman, gets absolutely leveled. So Howard just discards it into the bench and finds a way to find a loophole through intentional grounding.
And Ohio State under a minute, 58 seconds ago, 2nd and 10, still on the 34. Howard now has plenty of time, looks right side again. That time he gets Jeremiah Smith. Good 3-yard gain on a check down.
Will Howard's pass complete to Jeremiah Smith.
So OSU only wasted 3 seconds on a play like that. Devontae Golden-Nelson again. Looks like he's going to be one-on-one in the island with Smith, which you don't see too often for freshmen. Really getting that kind of action defensively where they're pressing you heavy, dropping him back. So now Smith goes to this near side. Cartrell White is the right side receiver who's playing him. Howard in the shotgun formation. Henderson next to him. It's an immaculate blitz off the edge from Darian Lewis, and the ball comes out. Ohio State, do they get it? It looks like they jump on it with Henderson, but that blitz we talk about from Lewis, out of nowhere, the nickel black slotting in back at a linebacker position.
The safety blitz was absolutely lethal there.
Recovered by
and a heads-up jump by Travion Henderson to sense that that's a backward pass, and so he fell right on it. Now it comes down to if that's a forward or backward pass. I think it's going to be a backwards pass.
Akron has just called their second timeout of the half. It will be 30 seconds in late.
Timeout for Akron. 37 seconds back on the game clock. I think the biggest question here, which now realizing it, I actually didn't think that was a pass back. I thought it was just that Howard kind of had stars in his eyes and realized, I'm going to go down and I could take it here, and that his hand just kind of went limp.
Well, Henderson was open, so if Howard were able to put it in a spot where Henderson could catch it and run, he would have had a lot of open space. But it was a gamble, and it certainly did not pay off. So Akron able to roll the dice a little bit. That's a big gamble to blitz your safety.
Joe McGuire in to punt for the Buckeyes.
It's 4th and a million, so 4th and 16 on the 28. Joe McGuire, the punter. Going to come in and try to boot it out as the Buckeyes are near their own red zone. A smart decision with only 37 seconds to go here in the second quarter. McGuire gets it, runs to his right a couple yards, kicks it end over end at the 22-yard line. Fair catch called for Jordan Castleberry, excuse me. It'll be the fair catch. 30 seconds to go here in the second quarter for the Zips. Do we just see a kneel here and run it off and see what you can play with?
Maybe one shot down the field to test your luck and maybe try and get into field goal range, but can't imagine Akron's going to get too aggressive unless they move the ball in a spot where Ohio State really can't march down the field in under 30 seconds.
I mean, the way I see it at this point here, partner, if Ohio State shows forward and they drop it back, you call a timeout, try to go audible. But if you go audible, you got the one timeout. So you really do have one shot here. As it looks like Finley, he's still going to be in that shotgun set with Charles Kellum. Ohio State only dropping the two high safeties. It's Downs and Ransom. Burke playing this close side one-on-one against Granger. Here comes the snap, bubble screen pass. It was a misfire and a delivery to Jarvis Rush. He got it down near his kneecaps, runs up a couple, but only 2 yards. There's 19 seconds to go. Clock is moving as it was inbounds on the completion. 23 to go. Now 12 to go on the clock. It looks like Akron's just going to let it play. The offensive line starting to walk off the field. Finley giving out the handshakes. And with what the line showed here, partner, coming to the end of this one, now 0 here at the Schuh. Ohio State up 17-3. A lot of the national media thought this game was going to be way more out of proportion than what actually shows.
Yeah, give credit to Akron. They fought their tails off there. The defense looked strong. Now, Ohio State was able to break out for 203 yards and 116 through the air. But nonetheless, the Zips are certainly going to go into the halftime locker room with their heads up high. At Ohio State, they're going to go in looking for how they can attack and punch immediately when they get the ball after Akron does to start off the second half.
I mean, it's got to be a screaming match at this point, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's more of a, hey, we've had some good plays, we've had some misfires, we've had some good sets defensively, we've had some bad ones where we've gotten eaten and chewed up like we saw in the play fake 2 in a row for Taj Bullock. I think there's a lot to take away from your positives, and of course with a team who's very new with their play caller in Kelly and their receiver of those play callers in Will Howard. There's a lot to play into it, but I think this is an OSU team everybody knew, defense strong, offense playing into it, but not that as close as a 14-point game could be. We'll step aside for a little bit. Tyler and I will be on the halftime show in a little bit. And then the second half, Connor Schuh and Connor Canfield will pick it up as Ohio State up by 14 on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon the Ohio State University Marching Band takes you back to the 70s.
Number 2, Ohio State leads Akron 7-3 at the half. It's the halftime report on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio from 89-degree and overcast Ohio Stadium off the banks of the Olentangy River in Columbus, Ohio. Alongside Austin Crume, I'm Tyler Danburg. Well, Austin, the story so far has been simply Jeremiah Smith.
Are we really surprised, though? I mean, when it was announced that Jeremiah Smith, a true freshman out of Miami Gardens, Florida, will be the number 3 receiver, and not saying that in a negative connotation, but when you only got the 3 potential active spots, you give it to a true freshman. There are a lot of questions of, we know this kid's talented, we know he's a freak of nature. Is he able to show up in game 1? I don't think you could have told me, or most of Buckeye Nation, or probably most of the country, that Jeremiah Smith would score the 2 first touchdowns of the 2024 campaign.
He did it first on a 16-yard strike, down 3-0. Jump ball in the back left corner of the end zone, and he was able to haul it in. And then on the other side, in the second quarter, you called that, Parter, 9-yard touchdown on a crossing route over the middle. A nice little cut fake into the middle of the end zone, and he was able to haul it in. Akron, though, jumped first, and nobody can take it away from them. What did you see from them in that first half?
I am pleasantly surprised from the work of Brian McCoy. He's their wide linebacker. They expected him to play more weak side. It seems that he and Antavius Fish, the middle linebacker, have somewhat switched roles in this game, where they're giving Fish more of a pressure situation in the midsection, and they're allowing McCoy to not only be the rover, play the QB, march it, and potentially try to dot it, but also rush forward just in case they need him to. But this secondary has been great as well. Devontae Golden-Nelson. We've seen Paul Lewis get involved. Joey Hunter and Cartrell White. I mean, there's a lot to be proud of if you are Akron, and especially if you're looking at their defense.
You mentioned dot. Maybe one of the best traditions in college sports is Script Ohio, which is going on right now.
Currently.
But Archie Griffin, the 2-time Heisman Award winner, the only person to ever do that in the history of college football, is going to be dotting the I. His statue was unveiled yesterday, one of 3 statues on the athletic facilities of Ohio State University. Woody Hayes, Jesse Owens, and Archie Griffin, who 50 years ago became the 2-time Heisman winner that he is. And outside of the football field, he's also known for his abilities as a humanitarian. There's a part of being here that is special, so we're going to take you inside it right now as Archie Griffin goes to dot the I. 102,000 plus. Seeing Archie Griffin in a red polo, gray khakis, and a white cap, dotting the I. Pretty special tradition, and he joins Jack Nicklaus, Woody Hayes, among others, as the rare few to be a celebrity eye dotter.
I mean, when he had heard that he was going to be given this high honor, he could only go, wow, are you serious? He was in complete shock. Archie Griffin, a 2-time Heisman winner, of all people, in shock of being able to dot the I, a tradition unlike any other going back to the mid-1800s in football. Who would have thought that this man, at this point, Mr. Buckeye, being able to do it at the start of the 24 season?
Archie Griffin, former Ohio State running back. The Buckeye running backs today have amounted for 87 yards on the ground, 116 in the air, 203 total. On the other side, Akron has yet to solidify themselves offensively. 83 total yards, 85 via the pass. Ben Finley and Taj Bullock have been masters of deception in the offensive backfield, the 2 quarterbacks for Joe Moorhead.
And if you told me that Taj Bullock, the backup quarterback who had started 10 games last year, 6 attempts and 14 yards rushing, with his longest being at 12, where he wasn't even playing the quarterback position. He was either a slot man or an extra back going out and putting in the work. We talk about wrinkles all the time. Ohio State ran a bunch in that Cotton Bowl against Missouri. Missouri ran a bunch of their own. You've seen it occasionally. Alex Orji in Michigan the past couple of years. They'll have him go out into a flat. Nice pass to him, deep downfield with the big arm cannon. You don't see that too often from MAC schools or Power 5, or well, not even Power 5 anymore. It's now Power 4. But Group of 5 teams as well, getting out and throwing wrinkles that early on in the games.
Joe Moorhead is crafty in his third year as head coach, former quarterbacks coach at Akron in the early 2000s. Do you think his diverse background plays a role in how they try to deceive the defense?
It has to. When you have that kind of mindset and you realize you know you're underdogs. In the last 2 meetings between these two teams here, partner, it was back in 2021 and 2011. Ohio State on the 25th of September 21. They were ranked number 10 in the country. They won 59-7. And then back on September 3rd of 2011, they won 42-0. They have outscored their opponents by 100+ to 7.
It's been 130 years since the last time Akron won. It was a 12-6 win in 1894 against Ohio State. Ohio Stadium, where we are right now, was not a thing yet.
I don't think most people were a thing yet at this point.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point. Older than most buildings,
yep,
is a good way to put it, but not this one. But
of course.
anyways, how does Ohio State try and explode a little bit and play to the offense and to the defense, more so the offense, that people might have been expecting coming into this one?
One thing that I noticed, and you may not catch on to this one, Travion Henderson, when he went up to guard the A-gap right in the middle and stop Lama Lavea, met him right there in the gap. Will Howard, it seemed from that point forward, felt trust. He felt comfortable. He felt more like the Will Howard of K-State that we know. And maybe that's all he needed. One call sign from a teammate going, I've got your back. I'm going to put myself on the line. Go out there and let that thing rip. And a couple plays later, a touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. It's a trust thing, whether you're handing the ball off to your A and B running backs, or going to the freshman Smith, or finding Ibuka and Carnell Tate going out on wheel routes and getting into the flat.
Ohio State quarterback Will Howard is 10 for 21 passing for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Travion Henderson leads the Buckeyes on the ground, 7 carries for 44 yards. Quinshon Judkins with 7 carries for 25 yards, and Will Howard has 18 yards with his feet as well. Jeremiah Smith, 5 catches for 47 yards and a pair of touchdowns, tied for the team lead with Emeka Ibuka, 3 grabs for 47 yards. Ben Finley, 7 for 13 with 54 yards in the air. Taj Bullock, a completion percentage of 100% and 31 yards. Bullock also paving the way on the ground with 14 yards with his feet. Jordan Simmons has 20 yards, receiving on 3 catches, a team high, and Bobby Golden has a team high 29 yards receiving. So on the other side of this break, Connor Schuh and Connor Canfield will have the second half coverage on the way. Number 2, Ohio State 17, Akron 3, on our way to the second half on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio.
It's the second half between Ohio State and Akron in game number 1 of each team's seasons for the 2024 college football campaign. Connor Canfield alongside myself for the second half coverage. Tyler Danburg and Austin Crume on the halftime show and the first half. And we'll be here for the rest of the way, including the post-game show The Buckeyes 17, the Zips 3, and I think the story of the first half has really been this Akron defense, Connor.
I mean, absolutely. They've really stuck out and impressed so far. We talked about it a lot. The middle linebackers really, we talked a lot about it off air before this. I mean, those little middle linebackers have really come out and played here today. And Tavius Fish leading them with 5 tackles. You got the DBs getting in there. And we talked about CJ Denali before the game. He's really been held in check for the most part, other than a few plays for Akron, should I say, by Ohio State. So really just everyone in this Akron defense really stepping up, keeping Ohio State at 17 points. So really just the offense and Ben Finley have to really just kick things in the gear, because it feels like Akron's within striking distance, but right now still down by 2 touchdowns. It feels a lot closer than that, though.
CJ Denali, 3 tackles, 2 solo on the game, and Tavius Fish, 5 tackles. And then Brian McCoy, a tackle and a pass breakup, and a lot of good coverage throughout this game. He seems like he has been everywhere. Buckeyes kicking off for the second half from right to left, Akron to receive. They'll be playing from left to right on the offensive side of the ball. And we'll still be seeing the starters out here for both sides. Jaden Fielding on to take the kick from the left hash on the near side at the 35-yard line for the Buckeyes to start the third quarter.
Jaden Fielding will kick off
And
for
back
the Buckeyes.
deep
Back to receive for the Zips.
for Akron. It's Jordan Castleberry, number 29 on the far side, and Bobby Golden, number 4 on the near side. Receiver and running back. And Jaden Fielding is ready, standing at the Big Ten logo, jogs in towards the ball, kicks it, and it's falling all the way towards the back of the end zone on the far near side for a touchback.
First down and 10.
So Akron will have the football first, and they'll have an opportunity to strike. The offense has been up and down today, but they've had a few splash plays so far, Connor.
They absolutely haven't. I mean, Taj Bullock, he's really been kind of a gadget guy for the Zips right there in that half. He came in for Finley when he got injured, and as Staten has been in some plays when Finley's been on the field, really, but Akron has to get the rushing attack going. Just -2 rushing yards in that first half. 85 yards passing, but negative rushing, not going to win you a ball game.
Akron lining up in the middle of the field. Ben Finley back in shotgun with Jordan Simmons to his right side, all 3 receivers to the left, 1 tight end to his right. Finley fakes, runs right up the gut, and slides at the 30-yard line. He's knocked down by Lathan Ransom right in the middle of the field for a quick gain of 5.
And that first half almost began, or should I say the second half almost began how the first half did. Finley almost got smacked after he went down on the slide by Ransom that time, who was just able to pull up and avoid a 15-yard penalty. You saw Davison Igmanosin get hit with that, almost got hit with targeting as well, but Finley, he was hurt in that half. At the end of that half, the CBS cameras, he could show he's wincing walking off that field. He's taken a couple of licks today.
Gadget guy Taj Bullock comes in for tight end Jake Newell. He's in line on the left side. Snap, fake. Finley tosses right side to Bullock in motion, and he is brought down behind the sticks on the near side by Lathan Ransom, again for a loss of 1.
I just mentioned how Finley's taken some licks. He took another one there from Jack Sawyer, came off the edge and forced him to get that ball to Bullock quickly. And as Jack Sawyer, he's been all around the field here so far in this game.
Ball spotted at the 29-yard line for Akron. They're out 29. 29 and a couple of inches actually on the near hash. Ben Finley in a quarterback in shotgun. Simmons to his left side, 3 receivers to the left, 1 tight end to the right. Bobbles the snap, picks it up, throws it, flag flies, complete to Newell right at the sticks at the 35-yard line. Gets pushed out of bounds by Denzel Burke. We'll see what that flag is. And if they call that complete and the flag is on Ohio State, that'll be a first down.
I got to imagine it's going to be offside just because they didn't blow the play dead. I think it was a free play for Akron. But still discussion in the middle of the Buckeyes and the Zips right now by what some people call the Zebras.
It looks like Akron is lining up at the 30 again. That was 3rd and 6. Still no call from the referee.
Offside defense number 44 was in the neutral.
And there it is, offsides on JT Tuimoloau. Little neutral zone infraction, so Akron gets the automatic first, Connor. They're looking solid to start this drive.
And just stuff like that, even on a 3rd down, where Akron was able to complete the pass regardless, you can't have that from one of your veteran leaders lining up in the neutral zone like that. Stuff like that really just gets in the teeth of your coaches, really ticks you off.
And at quarterback, Ben Finley again. 1st and 10, ball spotted at the near hash mark. at the 34-yard line. Jordan Simmons in at running back still. He's been in for this entire drive, but so far today, no rushing yards. He does have 20 receiving yards on 3 grabs. Ben Finley in at quarterback. Looks like it's going to be 3 receivers to the left side. Taj Bullock, the gadget quarterback, one of them, along with Bobby Golden and Amarian Granger. Or actually, that's Adrian Norton along with him. He motions out to the right side. He'll be the lone man over there. Taj Bullock standing behind the right tackle on the right side. Simmons flexes out. Now he's in motion. Or that's Bullock, and the play is blown dead. So quick whistle. Trying to wait and see what they're looking at here.
Perhaps a bit of a timing issue with the clock after that penalty.
Certainly could be. So they're saying this is 3rd and 1, not an automatic first down. 13:28 on the clock. All the referees joined up between the offensive line. And there's going to be a review
For the spot of the ball, which I was going to say, I thought Akron got the first down on that last play, so I was a little surprised why they took the 5-yard penalty that would make it 3rd down again. And so they're going to review the last play to, I think it was probably right at the sticks, and if they get the first down, they can just decline that penalty and take the first down instead of having to do 3rd and 1 here.
So Joe Moorhead wants to take a look at it, and both teams are going to go back to their respective huddles, but Akron doesn't really look like they've lost anything even in just a few plays in the second half.
Not really moving the ball well, and it's been having to make quick decisions Finley has because he's bearing down some pressure. Jack Sawyer, JT Tuamolau really coming in off the edges, but he's made some good decisions here. And the passing attack hasn't been the problem for the Zips. It's just been running the ball has been tough. So if you just keep taking these quick passes, just moving it down the field little by little, you'll take that if you're Akron, as long as you're moving the ball down. But I would like to see him just try to get the running game going. It doesn't matter if it's Taj Bullock, if it's Ben Finley doing it himself. Someone's just got to be the one that's going to be that dominant ball carrier here, because right now the Ohio State defense has shut them out rushing.
Bullock leads them in rushing with 14 yards on 6 totes. And he's 4 for 4 for 31 through the air, like you mentioned earlier in this quarter when he came in for Ben Finley, when he got banged up on that first drive. And the ruling on the field stands. It is still 3rd and 1. Ball spotted at that right hash on the 34-yard line for the Zips versus the Buckeyes, who still have all their ones out there, although Arvell Reese, the sophomore linebacker, has been out there for a little bit. He's been producing a little.
He has. I mean, people have to step up with Cody Simon coming off, so Reese has been one of those guys. He's been flying around the field a little, making some plays, so you like to see that if you're Ryan Day and Jim Knowles.
Ben Finley in the shotgun. Jordan Simmons on his right-hand side. Connor Kravac in line on the left side at tight end. Lone receiver to the right. As Joe Moorhead's going to come out onto the field. Boos rain down. A timeout on the field for Akron. What could they possibly be looking for here?
And stuff like that is just really what loses you football games. You have the review, you have a chance to go talk over your play, and just have mistakes like that, not knowing what the play is on the field, not knowing where people need to be. You got to burn a timeout early in that 3rd quarter. You just can't have that if you're Akron. So I just think it was a little bit of a miscommunication. People were kind of just looking around. I don't think people really knew the play call and or where they were supposed to be. So that results in Joe Moorhead having to burn a timeout, which is just something you don't want to see if you're the Akron faithful here in this 3rd quarter.
And with the noise in the stadium for a team like Akron, usually playing at somewhat smaller stadiums, it's got to be tough because you're not used to a hostile environment like the Schuh. But it seems like even though they only have 3 points on the board, I think they've overcome the atmosphere to a degree, holding this Ohio State offense to 17 points and getting on the field for as many possessions as they have offensively has been impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, they've really, I think, exceeded a lot of expectations that people thought they were going to have coming into this game. I think a lot of America watching this game is probably surprised at how close Akron's playing Ohio State right now. But trying to get this 3rd down, and this is going to be huge. I think a huge kind of momentum changing point. If Ohio State's able to get off the field here, get off with just this 3rd down stop, that's going to be huge for the momentum boost. If Akron just keep going, especially get a touchdown by the end of this drive, I mean, it could be anyone's ball game. I really feel like Akron could certainly come in here and shock a lot of people with the way they've been playing.
It certainly is, and truth be told, the talk in Columbus is that this is going to be an easier one for Ohio State, one where they can put in their backups later on, but that's just not what's happened so far for them. And Akron has given them a great game so far. Like we've said, the defense has looked stout and the offense has looked better than it has before. It was one of the worst offenses statistically in terms of points per game, 130th out of 133 with around 16 points per game last year, and a lot of turnover with Ben Finley at the helm now instead of DeMarcus Irons Jr. or Jeff Undercuffler, the two guys who started the majority of the games last year. But both teams still hanging around in their timeouts. 13:20 on the clock right now. It's 3rd and 1 here in the third quarter. 17-3, Ohio State leads the Akron Zips at the Schuh for the season debut for both of these squads. A lot of expectations for Ohio State as the defense comes back out onto the field. The troops go back to the sideline.
And Connor, I think if you're Akron here, I know we've talked about how the rushing attack hasn't been great, which is kind of just a precursor of last year. Only averaged 81 yards. That was dead last in the MAC compared to a 4th-ranked passing attack. But in short yardage situation like this, trying to get something in close, maybe even, we saw a touch push from Ohio State earlier. I feel like that wouldn't even be that half bad of a play call here.
With a guy like Taj Bullock out there on the field, it's always in play. 6'4", about 230, playing quarterback. Ben Finley in the shotgun with Simmons to his right, lone receiver to his right as well, and 3 to the left. Simmons gets the handoff and is right at the sticks. Looks like he's just a touch short. Jack Sawyer got the stop just before that 35-yard line.
Yeah, JT Tuimoloau came off the left side there and had him in the backfield, but just wasn't able to finish the tackle. And Simmons will be marked about 6 inches short or so. So this is going to do or die for Akron. 4th and inches in your own territory. You turn this thing over, Ohio State's got plus territory.
It's about as close as you can get. The tip of that football, so close to the line over there. They're lined up on the right hash. 4th and 1, barely. Ben Finley in the shotgun, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. And Jordan Simmons again lining up on his right shoulder. Finley claps, takes the snap, hands off to Simmons, dives forward at the hashes. And what's the call?
They got it based on where the far side official is, and he's going to wave the first down. They needed about 6 inches, Connor, and they got all of it. Ty Hamilton there on the stop. Ineffective rushing attack right now, but when you just need short yardage like that, that's just got to be the play call right there.
Brought down along with Caleb Downs, so Akron getting a much needed first down. 12-17 on the clock, 17-3. Akron trails. Finley takes the snap. They look to their sideline. A tight end in line to the right, it's Jake Newell. Jordan Simmons still in it, running back to Finley's left side. 3 receivers spread out wide on the left side. Lined up on that right hash. Finley takes the snap, fakes the handoff, takes it himself to the left side, and is brought down right at the sticks by Arvell Reese.
There he is right there. They tried a little read option. Reese was there on the great read, just held the edge, held the contain, and is there to stop Finley for a loss of 1.
And Ben Finley, not a guy who's really been much of a runner in his career, been utilized a lot more like that today. No yards on 7 carries so far for him.
And Finley's actually hurt on that play. He's walking off the field with the trainer, so Taj Bullock will be back out once again. And, I mean, Finley's just taking a beating today, and it's starting to pile up.
It's been tough for him on that very first play from scrimmage for Akron in the first half. We saw him get dinged up, and he got brought off the field for a little bit. Taj Bullock, not Gibson, played the rest of that series. He's in at quarterback now, lined up just inside that right hash. Bullock in the shotgun, and 2 receivers to each side, all in the slot. Takes the snap, throws it left to Simmons. Simmons moving upfield towards the 40-yard line, falls forward for a solid gain on 2nd and 11.
Yeah, just a little swing pass out there. Akron trying to just go into the playbook right there. Jordan Hancock on the stop, but that's what you need if you're Akron. Just a little 4-yard gain or whatever, just to get it to 3rd and manageable here.
Bullock stays in. Ball's going to be spotted just shy of that 40-yard line. It's 3rd and 6, 11:08 on the clock, counting down 20 seconds on the play clock. Taj Gibson in the shotgun, 3 receivers spread out to the right side. Bullock checking his sideline, talking to his offensive line, making sure everyone knows the play. Jake Newell in line on the left side at tight end. Simmons, the sidecar to the left side. Fakes the handoff, gets right up the gut, diving forward for the first down at about the 46, 47-yard line, brought down by Ty Hamilton.
That's just what Taj Bullock brings you. They go with the read option on 3rd and medium there, and he pulls it back. Great read by the quarterback, and just dives across for that first down, and Akron's starting to move the ball towards Ohio State territory here.
He got some starts last year for Akron. He ran for 4 touchdowns and 165 yards, so he's a guy who can certainly do damage with his legs. Remains in at quarterback. Ball spotted at about the 46-yard line on the left hash. Bullock in the shotgun. 1 receiver in the slot to the left, 2 on the right. Handoff to Jordan Simmons, who gets eaten up at the 40-yard line. Tyleek Williams in on the stop, along with Mitchell Melton coming in as the rotational DN and getting the 5-yard loss at the numbers at the 40.
Yeah, just that time Melton, and like you said, just came up, blew that play up, and Akron's really keeping the ball on the ground here on this drive. You would like to see them probably start to try to air the ball out a little bit, try to bring a little bit more variety to the play call, because the Buckeyes can just sit about 5, 6, 7 in the box right now and just sit the run. 3
receivers split out wide, ball spotted at the 41. Bullock drops back and chucks it to the sideline. Looks like he might have wanted Simmons there, but just kind of threw it away on 2nd and 15. It'll be 3rd and 15 now. Ball spotted at the same place.
Yeah, they're trying for that swing pass to the left side again, but Mitchell Melton came down, cut down into the flat, and took it away, and all Bullock could do, that was really his only read on that play. He just had to chuck it away.
Charles Kellum comes in at running back. A couple of carries and a grab today. Jake Newell in line. On the left side, a tight end, 3 receivers split out wide on the right side. Again, Bullock with a hard count takes it, throws it out to Bobby Golden in the flat. Golden breaking some tackles and gets out towards the 44-yard line, hit out of bounds by Denzel Burke and Arvell Reese.
And Akron just keeping it with the short yardage situations. Another screen pass, and he had a lot of ground to gain. Gets them back across the original line of scrimmage, but not much more. Denzel Burke, like you said, on the hit, just shoved them out of bounds, and the Buckeyes are able to get off the field here and force Akron to punt.
Akron bringing out Avery Book to boot the punt. It's 4th and 12, 9:05 left on the clock. 17-3 in this ball game from the right hash. Cook takes it, runs to his left and boots it off to the left side. And back deep, receiving it is Ennis, breaks a tackle, moving to his right, running right up the seam, 30, 35, brought down at the 40-yard line. Nice return for Ennis, the sophomore.
I was questioning why he fielded that. That was inside the 5 where he caught it, but man, he made it work. Juked out of a defender. He had nothing but green grass ahead of him. Ohio State looking for a kick return and a punt return touchdown this year. Ryan Day guaranteed it that they'd get one this year, and well, Ennis gave it a good run, but gets the Buckeyes a great gain, and now they're back away from the end zone, marching towards the 50.
8:45 to go. Buckeyes get the ball. 17-3 is still your score here about halfway into the 3rd quarter. And Akron, they gained some ground on that drive, but if they want to dig into this game, they had to score on that drive. And with an offense as talented as Ohio State's, you can't really give up the possession battle like that.
No, absolutely not. You would have liked to see a score there from Akron, but you just got to keep doing what you've been doing defensively. Hold the Buckeyes off the board, and really, you got to put a man on Jeremiah Smith. I mean, Connor, he had a tremendous first half, showing why he was the top-rated recruit last season. 2 touchdowns for the Buckeye freshman, off to a great start to begin his career.
I think you might need to see him double covered more often than not, but that's such a gamble with all the talent in the receiver room for the Buckeyes. Carnell Tate and Emeka Ibuka on the other side, and you even have to look out for Will Kazmarek and G. Scott at tight end, and when Travion Henderson is in, you have to worry about him coming out of the backfield and catching passes.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like you said, a pass-catching threat, but really in that first half, he had his bread and butter on the ground. 7 carries for 44 yards, average 6.3 per carry, showing why he's one of the best running backs in the nation, really picking off where he left off last season. And Judkins, it was kind of a tough half for him. 7 carries, 25 yards, but really started to pick it up at the end. So just the dual threat backfield that Ohio State has, really showing the talent so far early.
It sure is, and now the big thing is Will Howard. How will he respond in this second half? Had a pretty up and down first half. The completion percentage leaves a little bit to be desired, 48%, 10 of 21. Did throw 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. But what does he need to do to improve in this second half, Connor?
I mean, he just needs to stand in there tall and just sit there and trust your receivers. Make the good reads. Sometimes you see he's trying to roll out that pocket a little early. If you can just sit in there and make some good reads, I think you got a good second half of football coming up. Had some great plays, showed the potential, showed why they got him out of the portal, which is, like you said, a little up and down, but it's the first game, first really true game actually he's had, whole new system. You expect this. I think Tyler and Austin mentioned it in the first half. kind of eerily similar to the Indiana game last year, where Ohio State, a little slow to start, but they were able to pick it up as the season went on. You had a new quarterback in that one, Kyle McCord, so it's going to take time. There's going to be growing pains with an offense with a new quarterback, but this is a chance to do it. In the first game of the season, and especially where these games early, if you look not as great, it doesn't really matter if the 12-team playoff. As long as you win these games, you're good. So just have the mistakes now. This is the time to do it.
It really opens up things for the early season games if you're Ohio State. Obviously, you don't want to slack off and take that room for error and put up a dud against Akron, which they absolutely haven't. But you got to stay true to what you have and play a good football game as the offense comes back onto the field for Ohio State. Ball spotted at the 40-yard line on the far hash in Ohio State's territory. Will Howard in there with the three top receivers, Emeka Ibuka, Jeremiah Smith, and Carnell Tate. G. Scott taking the field as well. He got the start at tight end. It did sound a little bit like Will Kazmarek was going to be the one, but G. Scott's gotten the majority of those reps. Howard in the shotgun, and Quinshon Judkins to his left. Two receivers split out wide to the left, one alone on the right. Judkins takes it running right up the gut to the 50 and taken down at the opposing 47-yard line by a couple of zips.
And just great job, Josh Fryer leading the way there for Ohio State, putting a huge hole out there for Judkins, who has his best run so far as a Buckeye, just plunging right off that left side. Or should I say right side, excuse me.
Howard back in the shotgun, 8:23 left in this quarter. Ball spotted at that 47-yard line on the opposing side, far hash. Howard takes the snap, drops back, throws it deep down the left side towards Jeremiah Smith, and it's caught at the 2-yard line, and he's brought down by Damon David, but what a throw and catch by the new connection.
Have yourself a day. What a debut for Jeremiah Smith. Just a little go route, double move, gets himself free, and is able to get down there just short of his third touchdown. But you'll take that if you're Ohio State.
Howard moving quickly, hands off to Judkins, and he crosses the plane for a touchdown moving left of the hash. 23 Ohio State, 3 Akron. Bucks are back on the board.
Well, that was a quick drive, just able to get there. Jeremiah Smith sets it up. Judkins finishes it off, his first touchdown as a Buckeye. And all it took was 3 plays and 60 yards to do it.
And that's a big one for Ohio State. A quick drive, get in and get out, and score. Most importantly for them, Jaden Fielding on to kick the PAT. John Furlman, the long snapper, and Joe McGuire holding. And the chip shot to try and put him up 21 points. 3 scores would be huge, and Akron, the offense moving a little slower to start this quarter. 7:53 to go in the third. Fielding walks backwards, takes his spot. Everybody lines up. The snap from Furlman, the catch, and the kick is good. 24-3, Ohio State leads here in the third quarter. We will take a quick intermission for a minute before Akron retakes the field here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. And we're live here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. 7:53 to go in the third quarter. 24 Ohio State, 3 the Akron Zips. Ohio State just got their third touchdown of the ball game, punched in by Quinshon Judkins going to the left side. It seems like they're really starting to get the juice as Archie Griffin is honored at the Block O in the middle of the field. Not too long after he got his statue erected in front of the Schuh. So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's always cool to see some of these like early game ceremonies that they do here in the early season. And obviously Archie Griffin, a huge legend on Ohio State, first two-time Heisman winner, only two-time Heisman winner, and does a lot of great work around the Columbus community. So great to see him get honored there in that ceremony.
Absolutely is. Ohio State kicking off in a moment to the Akron Zips. Bobby Golden and Jordan Castleberry back deep to return again. Castleberry on the left side and Golden on the right. Jaden Fielding on to kick. 24-3 Buckeyes. Fielding up to the ball, boots it high and far, and it drops right on the Block O in the end zone on the left side for a touchback. So Akron taking possession for the second time this half, and what's a key for them to get some points on the board here, Connor?
You have to get to the second level. There's too much short yardage situations, whether it be a handoff, whether it be an option, a short pass, a swing pass, a screen pass. You got to start taking some shots up the field and make your offense more vertical rather than horizontal, just to try to get some chunk plays and open up your offense.
I think that's big. They've only had a couple of plays that have gone longer than 15 yards, but that's a big key. Taj Bullock still in a quarterback 25-yard line, spotted at the near hash. Charles Kellum to his right, fakes the handoff, throws left, and it's off the hands of Jarvis Rush and almost picked off by Davison Igmanosin, who dove for it, but it just spilled out of his arms on the far side by the numbers.
That was another screen pass that time, and Rush just right off his hands, and Igmanosin tried his best but couldn't get it, but that's just another instance of the offense being horizontal.
Second down and 10 for Akron.
They have been working a lot in the flat so far in this game. It's 2nd and 10, and 7:49 to go. 24-3 is your score. Ohio State leads, ball spotted at the 25 near hash. Taj Bullock in at quarterback in the shotgun. Kellum to his right, lone receiver to the right, 2 to his left, throws left, looking for Rush again, but the throw was short in the dirt. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Yeah, you said it kind of, that one short and in the dirt. Rush never really had a chance there. Now it's 3rd and 10, just like that for Akron.
And that's a throw you kind of need to make. A short throw to the left to try to get a guy like Rush in space to use his speed. Just if you can't get it there, you can't do anything. 3rd and 10, 7:46 to go. Bullock in the shotgun, Kellum to his left, 2 receivers to his left. The tight end Newell in line on the right side with the lone receiver Adrian Norton. Rush is out there on the left side with Marion Granger. Bullock gets the snap, runs straight up the gut on the scramble, but gets brought down and fumbles the ball. Ohio State's recovered, a host of them to the end zone. Touchdown, Buckeyes! The scoop and the score. Lathan Ransom.
And I mean, Connor, it's Jack Sawyer once again. He had the initial hit flying everywhere, and then Bullock was smacked from behind by about 2 Buckeyes. Ball pops right out of there, and Lathan Ransom's right there just to scoop it up and scamper the other way. And just like that, took about a minute. Ohio State's now put 13, make it almost 14 pending this extra point on the board just like that.
And there was only a couple really big splash plays defensively in the first half for Ohio State. I think something like that is what they've been looking for sorely all game, that scoop and score. That's something that'll really turn the momentum over. Jaden Fielding on to kick the extra point with 7:35 to go. It's 30-3 Buckeyes. John Furlman, the long snapper, unfurls it to the punter McGuire, and Fielding boots it through for the extra point. 31-3 with 7:35 to go for Ohio State here in the third quarter after Taj Bullock got the ball knocked out by Jack Sawyer, and it went to the hands of Lathan Ransom, who went to the house with a host of Buckeyes to make it 31-3. We will take a quick break here at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. The scoop and score by Lathan Ransom makes it a 31-3 ball game. Ohio State has quickly removed all doubt of Akron coming back into this one, Connor.
Yeah, they have. I mean, it took about a minute and a half and maybe a minute, but the Buckeyes put 14 points on the board, an offensive touchdown, a defensive touchdown. Now all they need is a special teams touchdown, but you just got to love to see this. If you're Ryan Day, you're kind of just shaking off the rust, shaking off the coldness, and really coming out firing here in the second half.
Jim Knowles also probably breathing a sigh of relief. A couple of quick drives for his defense, getting on and off the field swiftly, and they'll be back on here in a moment. Both teams still in their huddles on the sideline before another Jaden Fielding kickoff. And we'll see if Akron can make anything of a third drive here. They just haven't been able to penetrate the Buckeye defense like they did in the first half.
No, they have not, and really, don't want to sound like a broken record, but it just feels like just kind of repetitive offense right now. A lot of short passes, a lot of runs, which Akron finally into the positives there, but only 6 yards of rushing here in this one. You got to get to that second level, and I think you got to target Bobby Golden. 3 receptions, 32 yards here in this one. He's been efficient when he's gotten the ball, but just haven't really been able to get your playmakers the ball in space right now if you're Akron.
And Golden is back deep to return again with Jordan Castleberry for the third time in this half and third quarter. 7:35 to go. Buckeyes up 31 against the Akron Zips with 3 points on the board. Fielding boots it high and far, and Golden waves it off as it bounces through the end zone and off of an All-State sign for a touchback. So Akron, Taj Bullock, chances are he'll get out here and get another opportunity. And a lot of, I guess you could say, devious play calling in the first half, deceptive play calling, putting Taj Bullock out there in space as the extra gadget player, you could say. But now that's kind of gone with Ben Finley out of the ball game. You think there would be anything in putting in a different quarterback and keeping Bullock as that gadget guy?
I mean, it certainly could open up a lot, but you don't really want to be digging down into your third quarterback at this point of the game if you're Akron. So, I mean, Taj Bullock has just got to go in there and be a quarterback.
Hands off to Simmons, runs it right up the gut, taken down at about the 29-yard line by a couple of Buckeyes. Looks like it was Caden McDonald in there at the stop. The backup D tackle. Him and Hiro Kanu out there. The 2 second-string D tackles getting some burn. 2nd and 7, 7:13 to go, lined up at that far hash mark, the 28-yard line. Bullock in the shotgun, 1 receiver alone to the left, 2 out wide to the right, Simmons to his right side, 2 tight ends in line on the left. Fakes the handoff, Bullock goes left, avoids a couple of defenders and gets it all the way up to the 31-yard line at the numbers. For a couple extra yards, gets brought down by Caleb Downs. It's 3rd and 4.
Yeah, he was able to just shake free there, but nothing much after that. Like you said, Caleb Downs there on the stop. He's been flying around the field. He's been as advertised so far.
3 receivers out wide to the right at the 31-yard line. Bullock in shotgun, and again, they have to look to the sideline to get the play call from their coach. Jordan Simmons is the sidecar. 2 tight ends bunched in the left side. Handoff, or fake handoff, threw it to Newell, who's wide open on the left side. Gets a big chunk play, knocked out of bounds at the opposing 40-yard line by Sonny Styles, and that's the chunk play they've been looking for.
Yeah, Ohio State really bit down on the run there. They thought it was coming. Little hard play fake that time, and Bullock was just able to rip it right back out there and float it to Newell, who was wide open up the left side. So that's exactly what Akron needed.
Got a couple of guys in that Buckeye front 7 to go right at Simmons. Bullock about to receive the snap at the 40-yard line. At the far hash, Charles Kellum in there at running back. 3 out wide to the right side, 2 tight ends in line, Newell and Connor Kravac. Kellum goes to his right side now. Bullock with the 2 count, and there's a flag. Might be a false start.
Yeah. A lot of movement up in the front, and I think we're going to see a false start on Akron.
That was 1st and 10 with 5:39 to go.
False start. Offense number 58.
And there it is, the false start call on number 58 on the offense. That's Jared Burrell, the junior offensive lineman out of Reisterstown, Maryland, making the false start. 5:38 to go, brought down to a 1st and 15 with the 5-yard penalty. Bullock still in the shotgun, now at the 45 in enemy territory. A receiver alone to the left, 2 spread out wide to the right. Newell in at tight end, in line on the right side, and fakes the handoff to Callum. Bullock breaking tackles, running out to the right side, falls down just inside the hash at the 36-yard line. Looked like he could have got a couple of more, but gained almost 10 yards on that play.
Yeah, there's an injured Zip there at the end. It looks like offensive lineman Delvin Morris is down on the turf there. It almost looked like a little bit of miscommunication between Simmons and Bullock, but Bullock was able to pull it free, and he had space. Good run, and I think he had a lot more, but actually really only got 4 yards there. It felt like he got 20 just with how far he ran, but was only able to get 4, and I think he was able to get more if he just didn't slip down to the turf like he did.
Got it all the way up to the 37-yard line, 2nd and 7, 5:11 on the clock, but there's an injury timeout for the downed Zip, as you said, and it's been rough for Akron. They've had a couple of guys go down. Of course, their starting quarterback, Ben Finley, and now one of their offensive linemen. It's just, you hate to see that.
No, you hate to see that in this week 1 game. Obviously, depth is going to be tested. You're going to put some more players in than you maybe would in week 13, but you just don't want to see players forced into action just based off injury.
And Morris is jogging off, so that's a good sign. Hopefully all is well with him.
It is a hot day in the 80s here today, so cramping obviously on that field, it's a little hotter, could be a factor just on top of the usual injuries and wear and tear you get.
There is some cloud cover over the field here now with 5:11 to go, 2nd and 7. It's gotten a little cooler. There's a slight breeze blowing to the north. Taj Bullock lined up in shotgun, takes the snap, runs it himself right up the middle on the scramble play, and gets about 5 in the middle of the field at the 31-yard line, brought down by a host of Buckeyes. Tywone Malone in there.
Yeah, like you said, kind of Malone there, and just really just the Zips are feeding Bullock right now. He's their offense. He's going to do it all right now, so you just really got to key on that on him if you're the Buckeyes.
He's up to 33 yards on the ground on 10 carries, 4:36 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Bullock lining up in the shotgun at the 32. 2 receivers out wide to the right, 1 alone on the left. That's Norton. Callum the sidecar on the right side, Newell in line on the left. Handoff to Callum, and is met by a few Buckeyes at about the 32. No gain for him, ran slightly to the right.
Yeah, the Zips just haven't been effective on 3rd down here and today. Now 4 of 13 on 3rd downs, and looks like the Zips are going to attempt a long field goal here rather than go for it on 4th and 1.
Garrison Smith on to take the field goal. He knocked in a 48-yarder earlier on in this game, so he's certainly got the range to boot this one in, kicking from the 31-yard line. Another 40-plus yard field goal.
Garrison Smith on to attempt the field goal for the
Garrison Smith on to attempt it in the middle of the field. Boots this one high. It's got the distance, and it's in the back of the net for a field goal.
Kick is good.
31-6. Akron chipping into the lead ever so slightly with a fairly successful drive. Taj Bullock was doing good work as a runner at the quarterback position, and I'd say that's a positive for the Zips.
That is a positive. You get points, but you got to get aggressive if you're Akron there, I feel like. You're down 31-3 at that point. It's 4th and 1. You got to put trust if you're Joe Moorhead. I know it hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows offensively, but you got to put trust in your offense that you can go get a yard on 4th and short. Really surprised with the decision to kick the long field goal rather than go for it down 28.
Especially with a guy like Taj Bullock at quarterback. You mentioned earlier a possible tush-push opportunity like Will Howard had back in the first half, but it's 3:37 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. 31-6, Buckeyes up big, and the Akron kick team coming out. Garrison Smith on for the kickoff, and back deep to return. Looks like it's Lorenzo Stiles and Jaden Ballard on the left and right sides of that Buckeye end zone. Akron splitting out to kick it from the 35-yard line. Still a solid crowd on hand here.
Student section certainly cleared out, though.
Yeah, certainly does. Smith boots it high and far. Ballard into the end zone and lets it bounce harmlessly through the turf for a touchback. So the Buckeye offense will get back onto the field for the first time in 5 or 6 minutes.
And it looks like they're going to bring out the starters once again. still up 25 here late in the third quarter. So you imagine week one, Ryan Day said he wants to work as many people in as possible, but the ones are going to get at least one more drive here before this thing ends.
They certainly are. The Buckeyes have seemingly taken this one out of reach, but obviously you need to get these guys a little bit more chemistry because it's been pretty up and down for them all day, but the ball is spotted at the left hash for Will Howard in the pistol formation with Travion Henderson behind him, a lone receiver out to the right, two out to the left. Brandon Innes in the game now, and a tight end G. Scott with the receiver on the right. Turns, throws to Henderson in the flat. Henderson breaking some tackles and getting in space, brought down at about the 37-yard line by Shaman Cooper.
Just a little swing pass out to the right side, and that's what Travion Henderson does so well. Dangerous in space, you put him out there, you can watch out.
Brought down at about the numbers, but it'll be spotted at the 37-yard line on the hash marks. Howard takes it in the shotgun, hands it off to Henderson. Running out to the right, he gets the edge, running down the sideline and goes out of bounds himself. Solid run from Travion Henderson and a couple of splash plays to start this drive.
Yeah, it just goes right off that right side. Huge hole. And if it wasn't for the Oregon transfer, Damon David, he might have been gone.
Certainly has the wheels to move that far. Henderson 65 yards on 8 carries today. Howard in the shotgun at the opposing 42-yard line with Henderson to his left. Takes the snap, takes a one-step drop over to Henderson in the flat on the left side. Breaks a tackle and gets pushed out by Shaman Cooper on the near sideline for a gain of about 5.
And it's Travion Henderson drive, just another swing pass that time out to the left side. And this is the benefit of having a guy like Quinshon Judkins in the way. You can run your running backs a little bit more, get them some more touches without having to worry about the wear and tear.
They'll spot it at the 36 on the hash mark. 2:30 to go in the third quarter, 2nd and 4. Howard in the shotgun. Will Kazmerican at tight end in motion. Howard's in the pistol now. Going behind him is Henderson. Two receivers stacked up on the left side. Gets the handoff and tumbling forward for a couple extra yards, but not quite the first down, is Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, just wasn't able to get a good block that time. Trying to sift through the bodies at the line of scrimmage, but not able to get much.
Ohio State back out there. Looks like Bryson Rogers out there at wide receiver now. Will Howard in the shotgun, ball spotted just inside the left hashes. He hands off to Judkins, makes a cut to the left, and is brought down at about the 28-yard line.
That time just ran right off of Josh Simmons, who was paving the way, and Judkins just was able to scamper forward off that left side of the line for a first down and move the chains for the Buckeyes.
Paul Lewis III, the Cornell transfer safety, was all over it on the tackle. Howard, ball spotted at the 28 on the hashes in shotgun with Judkins to his right, 3 receivers to his right. Takes the handoff as Judkins bounces off one defender, moving to the right, cuts right, and is brought down at about the same spot, but at the numbers at the 28-yard line, no gain.
You know, it's Paul Lewis once again who was able to come out from his cornerback position out in the flat and get Judkins, and really no gain right there for Ohio State. We'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Line change for the Akron defense. 6 men coming in for 6. 53 seconds left on the game clock here in the third. Howard in the shotgun, ball still at the 28. It is 2nd and 10. Howard takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Judkins, sits in the pocket and throws it up in the air for Ibuka, and he was pushed down by the defensive back. That'll certainly be pass interference.
Yeah, that's about a pass interference every day of the week and twice on Sundays. It was Joey Hunter, the redshirt junior out of Atlanta, in coverage, and all he really did was pretty much tackle Ibuka to make sure he didn't get the catch.
Yeah, and there you go. 15-yard penalty on the defense, 36 seconds left, and Howard lofted it to Ibuka, who was streaking between the numbers and the hashes on that left side, and probably would have been a surefire touchdown. He had the step on Hunter, and that's why he had to, well, push him down, for lack of a better word. At the 13-yard line of Akron, 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes at the left hash. Howard in the shotgun, 2 receivers out wide to each side, and splitting out wide is James Peoples as well in motion. Throws to the left, complete to Bryson Rogers. Gets the gain up to the 5-yard line And his first catch of his college career.
Yeah, that's someone that Ryan Day wanted to see step up as Bryson Rogers. He's able to get his first catch like you said, so maybe expect some big things for Bryson Rogers here in this one.
James Peoples stays in at running back, and Bryson Hodges staying in as well. Ball spotted at the 5 at the near side hash. 10 seconds to go, 2nd and 1 at the 4-yard line actually. Will Howard in the pistol formation, a receiver alone out to the right. Gives the handoff up to James Peoples, who follows a blocker into the end zone for the touchdown. James Peoples, first career carry, first career touchdown as it's 0-0 on the clock for the third quarter, 37-6, Ohio State.
And just the left side of the offensive line did it all for James Peoples right there. Created the huge gaping hole up the left side, and all Peoples had to do was just follow the daylight into the end zone. And the Buckeyes in the touchdown here in this third quarter.
And they pad the lead even further. Jaden Fielding on to kick the extra point. John Furlman, the long snapper, Joe McGuire. The holder, surprised it's not Nick McClarty, as that one gets to McGuire and Fielding boots it through. 38-6 is your score. Ohio State leading the Akron Zips as zeros are on the scoreboard. We'll take you to the fourth quarter after a quick break. Connor Canfield on the play-by-play and myself on the color. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Fourth quarter about to begin here on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio as the Ohio State Buckeyes lead the Akron Zips 38-6. Hi everybody, Connor Canfield here alongside Connor Schuh. And early Connor, after the Buckeyes go 8 plays, 75 yards in just under 4 minutes for a James Peoples touchdown, they extend their lead, outscored the Zips 21-3 in that third quarter. What was kind of the key there for Ohio State coming out of the locker room in the second half?
I think they mixed up the run and pass pretty well and seemed like they got everybody involved in, of course, that pass interference call on Damon Davis was pretty big on Emeka Egbuka going down that third drive, but they just made impact play after impact play. It seems like they came out a touch flat and we're still kind of figuring out how to play with each other out in the field, but everything seemed to click into place in that third quarter, and these Buckeyes are running on all cylinders.
Absolutely. You could say that third quarter, it was a boom rather than a doom. Fielding will line it up to kick back for the Buckeyes. Jordan Castleberry, Bobby Golden back there to receive for the Zips. Buckeyes going from left to right here in this quarter. Zips will go from right to left. Fielding puts it up in the air, right foot to the ball, and overhand kick will be over the head of Bobby Golden and bounce through the back of the end zone for a touchback. And the Zips will come out trying to get something going here in this fourth quarter, down 32. It'll be a question, too, whether Akron brings out the starters or kind of just brings out the 2s and the 3s here, obviously down to their backup quarterback and Taj Bullock. Still haven't heard word on whether Ben Finley will return in this game with 15 minutes and down multiple scores. I highly doubt he will come back into this one.
Looks like it's Bullock out there.
Yeah, it will
again.
be Bullock. He comes out in the shotgun with a tailback. That's the Michigan State transfer, Jordan Simmons. Trips right with 2 receivers to the left. Bullock takes a snap, hands Simmons. He's going off the right side, and he's going to be hit by a swarm of Buckeyes after about a gain of 2.
Jordan Simmons on the carry.
Looked like Sonny Styles in there on the tackle. I'll bring up 2nd and 8 for the Zips.
Buckeyes continuing that consistency that they started with on the defensive end at the beginning of the half. Only one drive that went more than about 30 yards for Akron in this half, and Buckeyes just creating havoc that time on the tackle.
Shotgun once again, single flanker right side, 3 receivers out to the left side. As Bullock pointing over, identifying the Mike linebacker, now will come and audible out. Simmons, the tailback, will switch to the left hip. Still 3 receivers out to the left side. Bullock takes a snap, bubble screen out to the left side. That's the receiver, Adrian Norton. He is going nowhere. About a gain of 2 or so, and will bring up 3rd and about 6 for Akron here on this one.
Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles in there, and snuffed out that play perfectly, and that's what Akron's been going to so much today. We talked about it a lot in the third quarter. A lot of short routes, a lot of bubble screens, a lot of work in the flat, and that time they saw it coming from a mile away.
Akron do or die here on 3rd down. It's something they've struggled here in this game. Just 4 for 13 on 3rd down, 3rd and 6. Ball's on the 29. Single flanker left side, 2 receivers out to the left, 1 out to the bottom of your screen. As Bullock takes a snap, and I think the left tackle moved that time. Should be a false start and march the ball 5 yards back for Akron. As there's a call from the official, and it is indeed a false start.
And what makes a disastrous second half for the Zips even worse, you just can't afford to have a penalty. You're not really, at this point, you're not really going to be coming back into the game down 32, but you want some positive momentum going into your next game, but a false start on possibly one of your final drives is not going to do it.
Absolutely not. Josh Blancart, the left tackle, South Florida transfer, hit with the false start, marches the ball back to the 24. 3rd and 11, balls on the left hash. 2 receivers out to the right side, single flanker left side, that's Simmons. Bullock in the shotgun, surveying the field and looking towards the sideline, now ready to take the snap. Fakes the clap, now fakes the give to Simmons. Bullock dropping back, pressured right away. He is hit. A bunch of Buckeyes are there. Every one of those red shirts there, I believe it was Kenyatta Jackson there on the initial hit before he was swallowed up by about 4 Buckeyes there. And another sack for the Buckeye defense and a 3 and out for the Zips.
Jackson, I think we got to see Edric Houston in there for a little bit. He was in there to clean it up along with Mitchell Melton to get the half sack, and it's awesome to see those guys get out there, especially Melton and Houston, guys who just haven't had a lot of play time. And Houston, of course, a true freshman, in for the first time, all of them making an impact on the line.
Senior punter Avery Brook, the Augustana transfer, is sitting on his 2-yard line, will roll to the left, now boot it up in the air with his left foot. End over end kick. Short one will bounce at about the 48 of Ohio State, or is picked up by Brandon Innes before he is tackled just across the 50 at the 47-yard line of Akron. That will bring up a drive for Ohio State in plus territory here with 12:09 left to go in this fourth quarter. Buckeyes leading 38-6.
And Innes had some green grass in front of him there, but good work by Noel Roach, the backup safety for the Zips, to get in there and make the stop before he could get anything more.
That's the second good return for Innes. That one a little bit shorter than his first one, but the first one he had fielded about the 2-yard line, and then was able to run it up to about the 35-40-yard line in his first one in that third quarter. So Brandon Ennis showing some elusiveness in open space, and maybe the Buckeyes have their punt returner.
I think so. He got some of those duties last year and looked strong. And as you just said, he's looked strong today. Has had a handful of nice returns. And he's a guy who can run north-south, who's a little bit shifty. He has some moves in his bag, and he's a guy who can do a little bit of everything at that receiver position. Absolutely.
So expect Ennis to have a little bit of a role this year. And Ryan Day kind of mentioned the kicking and the punting duties are kind of in the air right now. He mentioned Emeka Ibuka could be back there fielding punts for Ohio State. He was Ohio State's primary kick returner back in 2021. But right now, Ennis has taken most of them, and he has shown out today. So 38-6 here with 12:09 left to go in this fourth quarter. Got to imagine, Connor, probably starting to see Ohio State start to rotate a little bit more of the depth pieces in here on this drive. Do we see Will Howard is the question.
I don't know. At this point in the game, I think maybe you get Devin Brown in there for the reps. He's a guy who's really stuck through it, even after losing a couple of quarterback battles. He's a guy that is strong mentally, willing to stick with the program even though things haven't really gone his way. I think you got to get him a few reps just to see what he has in this season.
So far today, Will Howard 14 for 25, 56 completion percentage with 2 touchdowns and for 188 yards. Passer rating 145 though. You love to see that. Travion Henderson, the leading rusher for Ohio State, 8 carries, 65 yards, averaging 8 yards per carry. Quinshon Judkins has 12 carries for 48 yards and a TD. Jeremiah Smith, of course, monster day for him, 6 receptions, 92 yards, leads the way in the receiving corps, although Emeka Ibuka in there with 3 receptions for 47 yards. He's had some chunk plays. And the Buckeyes will be out on the field. Will Howard will be out there for Ohio State.
Really? Will Howard's coming out for another series. I guess they want to get him a little bit more play time, but a little bit more Big Ten action going on today. Nebraska versus UTEP. The Huskers up 40-7 right now, and Northwestern's having some trouble with Miami of Ohio, 13-6 late in the fourth quarter. Miami's got the ball. They did win the MAC last year, that double-digit wins.
Sneaky good Miami team.
1st and 10 for the Buckeyes.
Pistol look for Ohio State, 2 flankers, and now Emeka Ibuka will be motioned out wide. The tailback now in the shotgun is Quinshon Judkins on his right hip. 3 receivers out to the right side. Fake handoff, and there'll be a bubble screen for Emeka Ibuka. He'll surge forward. He was smoked by a couple of zips, and he's out there to the 43-yard line of Akron. Gain of about 4 will bring up 2nd and 6 for Ohio State.
I think getting out there and making the stop was DeMarco Johnson, the safety. Big play from him, a guy whose name we haven't really said too much today.
No, we have not, but Ohio State will get quickly to the line. Shotgun formation once again. Trips receivers out to the left. Judkins on the left hip of Howard. Ball's at the 43 of Akron on the right hash. 11:37 to go. Buckeyes lead 38-6. Howard takes a snap. String pass out to the left side. That's Carnell Tate, who is upended. Nice tackle out in open space. That time by a defensive back for Akron. And it was Malcolm DeWalt, the 4th, out there making a nice play in open space.
Just flipped Carnell Tate over. Hasn't had too much action at the receiver position today, but getting on the board again.
Howard goes up to his line, changes the play. Shotgun formation once again. He'll turn and give to Judkins, who goes right up the gut. And he's got enough for a 1st down, gain of 6 that time, up to the 35, if you want to be exact, 34.5-yard line of Akron there after a good gain.
Judkins really hitting his stride. He struggled a little bit on his first couple of drives, but you can see the Judkins of old here just later on in this game, really playing like his freshman self.
Absolutely. Another good game for Judkins that time, and now Ohio State will come out of the huddle. Shotgun formation once again, 2 receivers out to the left, and 2 to the left, right, Jelani Thurman and Carnell Tate. Judkins on the right hip of Howard. He'll fake the give to Judkins. Look up the right side and shoots it up to the 20. Carnell Tate, who's out in open space, eluding defenders into the end zone. Touchdown Buckeyes as Carnell Tate scoots and scores into the end zone and extends the Buckeye lead to 44-6.
And look at the explosion of Carnell Tate. He got north-south so quick on that route. Got to his spot, found some open space. And wherever there wasn't tacklers, he just ran there and ultimately had a great run after catch, really showcasing his ability.
Jaden Fielding on to attempt the point after.
Joe McGuire, the holder And Thurlman, the long snapper here. Fielding trying to put 45 points on the board for Ohio State. Snaps good. And the ball is right through the uprights for Fielding. And extends the lead now for the Buckeyes. Buckeyes go 4 plays, 47 yards in a minute 33 on a 34 touchdown by Carnell Tate. We'll step aside here for a quick moment on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. I'll be back. Buckeyes lead 45-6 with 10-16 in the fourth quarter. Back at you from the Schuh as Ohio State leads 45-6 here with 10-16 left to go off the Carnell Tate 34-yard touchdown from Will Howard, who now has 3 touchdowns and 228 yards of passing in his Ohio State debut. Jaden Fielding about ready to punt the ball away. Jordan Castleberry and Bobby Fish back there.
Jaden Fielding will kick off for the Buckeyes. Back to receive.
But how about Jeremiah Smith in this first game, Connor? Most yards in a game from a freshman since Michael Jenkins.
What a stat. Actually, that's Bobby Golden. I combined him and Tavius Fish for some reason. Ball will go right over Golden's head and out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. But, I mean, what a stat that is. I mean, Michael Jenkins, a great Buckeye great. To be able to have a game like that just really shows the potential and the poise that Jeremiah Smith has.
Jenkins, the all-time leading receiver for the Buckeyes, too. And Becca Buka trying to get to that total. That's very possible this year.
And he's going to need the monster here, over 1,000 yards, but it's certainly within striking distance. And a receiver like a Buka could certainly do it. Akron back out onto the field. It'll be Taj Bullock out there once again. Charles Kellum, the tailback, he's on his right hit. 2 receivers out to the right side. Ball's on the 25, who have 10-16 left to go in this 45-6 game. Bullock will get the snap, fakes the give, and will instead take the QB draw right up the gut. Eludes one Buckeye before he is dropped down by, it looks like C.J. Hicks at the 30-yard line of Akron.
Nice little design run there from Taj Bullock, who's really done a great job on the ground and been solid through the air today. A real impact player in some ways for Akron.
Second down and 5 for the Zips on the 30-yard line of Ohio State with under 10 minutes to play here in this one. Single receiver out to the left side, 2 receivers out to the right. Tight end back there, that's Newell. As Bullock will give to Simmons off the snap. He goes right up the left side and darts across the first down marker. And it'll be dropped down at the 36 of Akron, enough for a Zip first down.
Good speed by Kellum, too. C.J. Hicks got right by the center. And Delvin Morris just couldn't really get to him, but Kellum made a really nice cut to the left side to avoid him.
Bullock in the shotgun once again, turning and looking to the Akron sideline, who is interesting, is looks to be using signs rather than the helmet communications that have been introduced this season here in this one. 3 receivers out to the right side. Bullock takes the snap, dropping it out in the flat, looking for Simmons, and that ball might have been deflected by a Buckeye rusher. It was Edric Houston who got in there and might have batted that down for the incompletion.
How about that? Edric Houston getting in there in his first game and making a couple plays. He was in there on that sack last drive and comes in and sticks that big left paw out, makes a deflection.
Yeah, they showed it on the board. He did get his hand on it, so Edric Houston put a PBU. And his statistic total here in this one, 2nd and 10, with 8:52 left to go on the 36 for Akron. Simmons will be the tailback once again. 3 receivers out to the right side. Shotgun formation. Zips have been pretty much exclusively out of the shotgun here in this one. As Bullock gets the snap and will pull it back from Simmons and run up the left side across the 40 before he was run out of bounds at the 41-yard line. That time by Jermaine Matthews Jr. will bring up 3rd down after a gain of 7 that time by Bullock.
I saw Devin Brown warming up over on the sideline, getting some throws in a Lincoln Keynote, so maybe we see Brown here on the next Ohio State drive.
45-6 late in the 4th quarter. I wouldn't doubt it here in this week 1 matchup between the Zips and the Buckeyes. 3rd and 4, balls on the 42 of the left hash for Akron. 3 receivers out to the right side. Bullock in the shotgun once again. He's got Simmons flanking his left hip, turning and looking towards the sideline once again. Buckeyes. 6 defensive backs out there. Bullock fakes the snap, now gets it. Turns, fires out in the flat. Simmons upended by Jermaine Matthews Jr. at the 40-yard line, who came out there from this defensive back position. And the Zips will have to punt it away once again.
Matthews is going to be a guy who's going to come in and be a real important player, spelling either Igmanosin or Burke at those cornerback spots, and played a lot as a true freshman last year, and you can see his impact with that big tackle right there in the flat.
Be a loss of 2 there for the Zips, and Avery Book will have to go out there and punt once again. He's standing on his 25-yard line, takes a snap, rolling to his left, and Aussie style kick up to the left side. Brandon Ennis back there, fields it at his 5. High kick, and he gets a block from a defender, or should I say an offender, as a flag was thrown out and across the 25-yard line on the near side sideline is Ennis, but this one will come back on a block in the back.
Yeah, it was thrown right there by where you saw that block thrown on the near side, and I think that's, like you said, almost always a big tell of a block in the back, excuse me.
It's like Cardinal Tate was kind of walking off the field with his head hanging down, so he's probably the one on the flag.
Return team number 22.
It was actually Calvin Simpson Hunt on special teams for the Buckeyes.
Timeout on the field.
So we'll get a timeout here on the field, and we will step aside as well. With 7:13 left to go, Buckeyes leading 45-6, with the offense coming back on the field when we return.
Today's game is brought to you by
Buckeyes back out on the field for another offensive drive here in this 45-6 game as we welcome you back into Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio here for this Week 1 matchup between the Akron Zips and the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. And Connor, looks like Will Howard's day is done. Devin Brown up there in the huddle we can see on the sideline as he is indeed jogging out. So it will be Devin Brown time here. Will Howard finishes his day 17 of 28, 228 yards and 3 touchdowns with 164.5 passer rating. So not a bad day in the office there for the K-State transfer.
Yeah, very solid bounce back half in this second. He really seemed to struggle in the first, was pretty up and down overall, but it seemed like he got his bearings with the offense and got used to Chip Kelly's calls and turned in a very good half of football, and I think that'll be what we see for the rest of the season.
Devin Brown out there with James Peoples on his left hip. Near side receiver is Kojo Antwi with 3 receivers up to the left side of the formation. 7-13 balls on the Buckeye 5-yard line on the right hash. Brown gets a snap, turns, gives Peoples, who's trying to shift his way up through the left side, and will be brought down after a gain of 3.
Peoples on the carry.
Bring up 2nd and 7. It looks like in there on the stop for the Zips is defensive lineman Marcus Moore, the Massillon, Ohio native.
And how about James Peoples getting his first career touchdown on his first career carry? Can't imagine how good that feels.
It's got to feel pretty good as Brown's back in the shotgun. 2nd and 7. Ball's on the Buckeye 8-yard line. Peoples back there. Single flanker to the right. 2 receivers, or should I say 3 receivers up to the left side. Peoples will get the carry once again. He'll be shot through a cannonball, it looked like, through that right side and be brought down at the 9-yard line of Ohio State. Will bring up 3rd and 1.
Big dive along the hashes for James Peoples. Got a nice chunk gain, and now you've got 3rd and short.
3rd and 1, balls on the right hash on the Buckeye 14-yard line. Brown in the shotgun will give to Peoples, but not before a flag is thrown by the umpire in the middle of that scrum, and I would imagine this is going to be a false shot on Ohio State.
I think so.
Offense number 56, 5-yard penalty.
Legal snap.
Seth McLaughlin, the Alabama transfer, hit with the illegal snap call. That's not something you see all the time.
Yeah, absolutely not. And another thing I'm surprised by is all the ones on the offensive line are still out there.
Well, the offensive line, this is kind of how the season's going to live or die by. What a lot of people have said, this, including Ryan Day, this team lives and dies by its line, so just trying to get as much experience as possible. Brown in the shotgun, 2 receivers out to the left side. He'll take the snap, drop back, fire a short pass. High is caught by Jaden Ballard, who went up there and got it. He's run out of bounds at the 15-yard line by defensive back Malcolm DeWalt, the 4th. That should be enough for a Buckeye first down.
There's Jaden Ballard getting involved, a veteran of the Ohio State program. Mostly a special teamer in his time, but it's cool to see him getting involved here as he could be the 5th or 6th receiver on the depth chart.
That's his 10th career reception for Ballard, the senior out of Massillon. Brown in the shotgun once again, 2 receivers left side. Turns, gives Peoples, who goes right up the right side before he is yanked back by C.J. Nanali. That time for Akron. We haven't said his name too much in this one, but he's able to stop Peoples after a gain of 2.
Yeah, I think he's been doubled for a lot of this game and has overall just been neutralized by this Ohio State offensive line. I think that's a big part of their game plan, just to stop him along the edge and build the rest of the defense around that.
Absolutely. Buckeyes have it 2nd and 7 on their 18-yard line. 5 minutes ago on this one. 3 receivers out to the right side. Kojo Antwi, the lone receiver to the right side. Brown will turn and give once again to Peoples, who goes right up the left side this time for his hit after a short gain by Rich Benage, freshman linebacker. Bring up about 3rd and short. 3rd and 2 here on the 23-yard line of Ohio State after the Peoples carry.
Peoples continuing to look strong in that run game. He's going to be tasked as that 3rd RB, so if there's no Judkins or Henderson, it's on him.
Yeah, Buckeyes looking for that 3rd running back after Dallin Hayden transferred. Here's Peoples on the carry once again. Slips through with 1 tackle across the 30-yard line on the right side before he is hit at the 31. Has multiple zips there on the tackle. It was Bruno Dahl, the German defensive lineman, who got up there and made the stop, but that's a nice run and a first down for Ohio State.
James Peoples a little too slippery on that run, just making his way through the heart of that defense.
New tailback in there for Ohio State. That's Sam Williams-Dixon, the freshman out of Pickerington, Ohio. Brown fakes the give, looking long down the field. He's got Ballard down there, overshoots him by a little.
And Ballard tried to make that move inside on the DB. Rich Benenge, the linebacker, getting out there covering the receiver, did a good job, but like you said, Brown just put a little too much mustard on that pass.
Interesting to see Ohio State take a shot in this situation. I thought they'd just be running the clock out, but with 3:59 left to go, they took a shot for Jaden Ballard, who can certainly be a seam stretcher for Ohio State. 2nd and 10 now on the Buckeye 32-yard line. Ball's on the right hash. Williams-Dixon, the tailback, trips receivers out to the left side. Brown gets the snap, gives off Williams-Dixon, who's going up the left side across the 35 before he is upended at the 36-yard line by a zip linebacker. Gain of about 4 yards that time for the freshman. Will bring up 3rd and 6.
Williams-Dixon, another guy who's been talked about as in line with James Peoples to some degree, more of the 4th stringer than Peoples, but a guy who will certainly contribute in some big games for Ohio State.
After the gain of 4 by the number 3 running back in Ohio last year, and Williams-Dixon, it brings up 3rd and 6. Shotgun formation once again. Brown will drop back to pass. Short drop, fires out on the right flat. And it was Jaden Ballard on an out route just across the sticks, but Brown overcooked it a little bit, misfired up to the left side. That will force a punt for Ohio State.
And when you haven't played quarterback consistently in such a long time, I feel like those touch passes have to be a little bit tougher on you when you just get thrusted into game action like this, even in a low-pressure situation.
But that's one that, if you're Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, you want to see Devin Brown hit, because Ballard, nice move, just a little out route. Right across the first down marker, he was open. You got to hit that. That's a little 7-yard throw that time for Devin Brown, and you can't be missing those if you want to win some ball games. Nick McClarty, the Aussie punter, boots one high, end over end, and fair catch will be made at the Akron 23-yard line with 3:10 left to go in this game. I'll bring the Zips. Maybe last chance to dance for Akron here. 3:10 left to go. See if Bullock is back out there, or we see freshman quarterback Braden Rogro, the Tiffin native, as this could potentially be Akron's final chance. So maybe they want to bring some people out there, get them some experience. And speaking of, there's Braden Rogro right there. He's in the shotgun.
6'4" kid out of Tiffin, not too far from here or Akron, semi-local.
It's up there, as he'll fake the give and fire out on the right side for his tight end. Looks like that's Connor Kravick, Cincy kid. And he's knocked out of bounds on the right side after a good gain of 8 that time. Bring up a 2nd and short for Akron.
Positive first play for Rogout to Kravick right there. And that's what you got to do to give to your freshman quarterback who's in there for his first reps. Give him a quick read to that right side in the flat, and usually you can find some success right there with a young guy.
2nd and 1, 2:40 left to go. Minnesota transfer Marquise Williams on the left hip of Rogro. He'll fire out in the flat. Ball tipped up in the air and picked off and going the other way. 10-20. Touchdown Buckeyes. It's Gabe Powers who caught the tip on the tip drill and runs the other way. And the Buckeyes a 2nd defensive touchdown, and they've put a 50-piece up on this one here today.
And guess who it was deflecting the pass again? Edric Houston, creating pressure, tipping the ball up in the air, and Gabe Powers showing off the nose for the football in some extended action here late for the Buckeyes and making one heck of a play.
First career defensive touchdown for Powers. Now the 2nd defensive touchdown, a scoop and scoring a pick 6 now. Zone 6 has been flying today. Joe McGuire the holder, and Jaden Fielding set up to boot an extra point away before a flag is thrown, and Akron is trying to run some subs in and off the field, so perhaps we see a personnel penalty here with 2:25 left to go. Officials discussing it.
Maybe a 12 men on the field, and
Delay game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the try.
Well, forget about that. Delay of game on Ohio State marches the ball about 5 yards.
think that's one of the last things we would have expected to see there.
I was with you. I thought it was 12 men on the field for Akron as well, but said delay of game. Ball will be moved back to the 8-yard line now.
That play clock will get away from you.
It definitely does. McGuire now set up at about the 16-yard line of Akron. Good snap, and Fielding knocks it right through. So the extra point is through with 2:25, and after the pick six by Gabe Powers, it's a 52-6 ball game. And I gotta say, Connor, I wasn't too far off on my score prediction at the moment. I said 42-10. I mean, there's a 2 out there I see, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit.
That was pretty solid, and hey, I'm gonna hold true to mine. 52-7 was my prediction, I think.
All right, you blew me out the water now that I think about it.
I think I just got lucky. Simple as that.
Isn't that all score predictions?
Hey, and it's just the first week, too. We've got a whole lot of time for a whole lot more score predictions.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely do. We'll be back right here next week, Western Michigan and Ohio State. That's on SGSR. Our other crew here, Eric Baugh, Cameron Moon, Micah Flack.
And Reed Murray, I'm pretty sure. That's right. Those guys some of them getting their first action. Reed got some football reps last year, and Micah Flack did a lot of high school football, did some Otterbein football last year, so good crew right there.
Absolutely. That's a 7:30 kick against the Broncos of Western Michigan. We gave Wisconsin a scare last night. So the Badgers were able to get out of there unscathed.
They sure did, 28-14. Big Ten action has been interesting early here.
Marion Granger, Jordan Castleberry back there as Fielding boots it end over end up the left side and into the end zone and through the back once again. And well, I said it might have been the last chance for Akron, and then a pick six. So 2:25 left to go. Don't want to jinx it again, but now has got to be the last chance here. You got to imagine.
Do we see another pick six incoming?
I mean, they call it the announcer's jinx, and it certainly came into fruition there. But with 2:25, not too much left of ball left to be played.
And you just want a solid drive for Braden Rogau if you're Joe Moorhead. Just let him get comfortable out there.
Yeah, Rogau, after the pick, I mean, there's nothing he really could do. It was Houston who batted it up. After that, there's really nothing you can do as he turns and gives to his tailback. That's Williams, who gets a nice run up the right side before he is chopped out of bounds on the sideline, but it looked like Gabe Powers. Gain of about 8.
Solid gain by Williams. Hasn't really come in until late in this fourth quarter. Not fresh legs, but made a nice little run there.
Rogau looking towards the sideline. Storied career at Columbian High School. 8,193 yards. That was 23rd in OHS SAA history. Also tossed 86 touchdowns, which was 19th in Ohio high school history. And Akron looks like they're going to have to burn a timeout. That's actually true. 2-minute warning. I mean, that's going to take a little bit to get used to. Not used to that at the college level. You see it at the NFL level, but 2-minute warning here in Ohio Stadium as the Buckeyes lead 52-6 over Akron. We'll step aside for just a quick second and be right back here. 2-minute warning. Buckeyes up by a bunch. 2 minutes left to play here at Ohio Stadium, as the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes have erased all doubt in this one, 52-6 here in this 2-minute warning. Ohio State, I mean, the defense, they've been hungry. They've held Akron to just 3 points in this half. They're out on the field already. Akron a little bit slower to get out there, but they're out there now. Rogau back out there. 2 receivers on either side of him. Single flanker right side. That's Williams. 2 minutes left to play. 2nd and 3. Ball's on the 33. Rogau will give to Williams, who was smacked by Lorenzo Stiles over the middle for no gain.
Lorenzo Stiles, brother of Sonny Stiles and son of Lorenzo Stiles, senior DB at Ohio State back in the day. Got some NFL burn, too.
Former Notre Dame player. Actually played receiver for the Fighting Irish. Stiles Jr. did, but now he's moved to safety for Ohio State. It's 3rd and 3. Ball is on the 32-yard line of Akron. Rogau looking towards the sideline alongside Williams, giving the directions to his line of scrimmage. Now backs into the shotgun. Single flanker right side, and Williams on his right hip. 3 receivers out to the near side. As Rogau takes the snap, gives up the middle. Williams, he runs into a brick wall of a defensive line of Ohio State before he is dropped down for a gain of about 1. Caden McDonald made the play. Brings up 4th and short, 4th and 2 with the clock ticking officially under a minute.
McDonald's been playing a lot of this second half and getting some valuable experience after some pretty limited playing time last year. So it's good to see him out there and do work. And there's almost a complete line change here as well.
Avery Book will come out the punt again, which I guess in this situation with the game all doubt, 40 seconds left, might as well punt it away. But I was really surprised with how Akron didn't seem very aggressive, especially when they were within sort of striking distance on some of those 4th downs.
That's right. They had a lot of chances.
They certainly did, but didn't convert. Book, left-footed punter, and an over-end kick, as Brennan Innes will drift back towards his 10-yard line to make a fair catch at the 12 on the near side. And with 21 seconds left to go, that'll be the best words in all of football, victory formation for Ohio State.
We'll see Devin Brown come out here and kneel it out for the last time in a game that looked scary for the Buckeyes in the first half, only 17-13 at the halfway point, but man, they just went scorched earth in the second half.
That they did. A couple of offensive touchdowns and 2 defensive touchdowns in this one. Forced turnovers, and you got to imagine, obviously work to be done, but you got to be happy with the result, as Devin Brown takes the snap and takes the knee, and that will do it here in this one. What fans remain are very happy with the result as the teams spill out onto the field. And the Buckeyes down the Zips and will keep that in-state winning streak and that MAC streak going as they take down Akron 52-6 here in this one. And we'll just go right into our post-game show, because why not? We might as well. 52-6. I mean, Connor, what a performance by Ohio State, especially in the second half.
An incredible one at that. 35 points put up between the 3rd and 4th quarter, and in the whole game, the defense looked incredible. Only 6 points allowed to an Akron squad that really doesn't have a lot offensively, a lot of juice, but against any team, only allowing 6 points is something to hang your hat on, and you saw how that defense played. Every facet of the game, the pass defense, the rushmen, the linebackers, they all looked solid, and it seemed like the group really started to gel there in the second half because there's a lot of new players on that defense. Again, you got your veterans like Lathan Ransom, JTT, and Jack Sawyer. That whole D-line returns, actually, but a lot of those linebackers, kind of a newer group. C.J. Hicks getting a lot more playing time for the first time. Sonny Stiles moving to linebacker, and Caleb Downs coming in at safety. But they're all starting to gel in similar defense to last year, and you saw it work wonders later on, and now the question is, will they be able to do it against some of those top teams?
Well, that will be the question, but the final comparison, Ohio State outgained Akron 404 yards, 177. Buckeyes held the Zips to just 47 yards of rushing. As Travion Henderson, leading rusher for Ohio State, 8 carries, 65 yards. Will Howard, pretty solid debut for him, 17 completions on 28 attempts, 228 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith, 6 receptions, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. What a performance for him as his first game as a Buckeye.
I think the expectations were sky high for Jeremiah Smith coming into this one, but I don't know if anyone saw that coming from him.
Absolutely not. I mean, he just really just separated himself, and some might say, well, it's Akron, but I mean, just to do that as a freshman, first Buckeye starter as a freshman in quite a long time. I mean, you just gotta love to have a game like that just to get the confidence under your belt here at the collegiate level.
Certainly do, and that might be one of the best debuts you've ever seen from any Buckeye, transfer or freshman. He just came out there, and whenever the ball came his way, he really dominated. And again, it's not the best DB room in Akron, but still, freshman, true freshman, coming in and getting that done is really promising for the Buckeyes. And this seems like he could be maybe the head of the snake